Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. It seems like forever ago since I talked to you, which is in reality only a couple of minutes ago. I was just finished up on It's Clobbering Time, where we talked about Captain Marvel versus Beta Ray Bill, and it seemed most of the chat was for Captain Marvel, and I'm not going to argue because I love Captain Marvel, and we're talking about Shazam Captain Marvel. One of the greatest costumes of all time. Also, keep in mind, I love Beta Ray Bill. So what are we doing here today? This is my third stream tonight. Oh man, do I have to shave or what? You can see this. I switched out my cameras, fixed all the settings, and this camera looks really good. So first off, this is an open invite. Everybody's welcome to join me here. And what am I doing? I'm launching my Indiegogo for Heroic Tales comics. I went on Fund My Comic. I was real happy with Fund My Comic. I went on Kickstarter, did okay on Kickstarter, and now Indiegogo. And then this is it. And then when this closes down, it's only going to be Fund My Comic is the only place you could get it. So I just want to, there we go. I've just reposted on Twitter so people know that I'm live. I'm trying to get some people watching. So there you go. Open invite. Anybody who wants to join us could join us, and I will keep talking until either nobody wants to hear me anymore, or chat dies, or nobody comes in. So I'll talk for about an hour. As always, I got some delicious Tim Hortons coffee. Man, I got to shave. Really, really got to shave. What people sending me messages. Of course, every time I go live, people send me messages. They think it's funny. All right, there we go. All right, we got two people watching. I might as well show my comic campaign while we're here. So I'll talk about the Indiegogo when we get a few more people watching. Hey, Prater, what's up? I'm launching Heroic Tales on Indiegogo. This will be the third and final campaign with the third and final variant cover, and I'm going to show that in a minute. Just let people show up. So right now I was going to show that I'm still on Fund My Comic. It is now in demand, meaning that the campaign is over, but it's like a storefront now, so you could still go there and you could still get the comic. You could still get the beautiful Renzo cover. You could get, this is the only place to get the Pat Broderick cover. This is the back cover. Everybody's going to get this on the back cover of the comic. And now you could get the Michael T. Gilbert cover. So there you go. You could get the Michael T. Gilbert cover on here. So let's see. I guess it's an add-on. Jeez, I don't see it on the side. So when you back it, write down what cover you want. Because okay. So when you back it, write down what cover you want. And if you already backed it, you got like 2 or 3 copies, tell me what covers you want. Send me a message, and I'll try to accommodate it. All right. We got Gordon Goodbrother over here. All right. So there's the Fund My Comic. It's going to be available there for forever. Because that's going to be the home for Heroic Tales going forward. So again, anybody want to pop in, talk with me? It's an open invite, and I just want to putting a link in there. Okay, there we go. Just letting people know. All right, there we go. All right. All right. So we got a couple people. Let's talk about this now. I will put up the Indiegogo and show you the Indiegogo campaign. So I'm going to make this big. So first thing, let's check out this trailer. And my mouse died. And my mouse died. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. We are stuck here until I put a new battery in the mouse. Unbelievable. I gotta find a new battery. Unbelievable. Where is my battery bed? Here it is. Let's get another battery. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? My mouse is dead. Let's get another mouse. My unprofessional channel. Oh, that's not the problem. Oh, cool. My computer froze. Nice. Nice. This is wonderful. Can you guys even hear me? Okay, there we go. My computer froze. It just had to catch up. There we go. So there we go. Of course. So did you see the I want to share this screen again. My wife just yelled, we could hear you. Good thing I wasn't cursing. I was about to curse. So here we have my campaign. So you can get the Renzo cover. This shouldn't be here. You shouldn't get the Pat Roger cover. But here you go. The Mike Gustovich cover is available here. Look at that. That is the new cover. Check that out. That's the final variant. So here you go. $10 for this. Look at that cover. Just glorious. Just glorious. I love that. I love that. And you could get all these covers here. And then you see this. Oh, geez. My wife, I got it. I'm just going to sign out and start all over again. But check this out. Look at this. The Michael Gustovich cover. Is that glorious or what? Yes, there's the bad guy, Dr. Robug, with his robot minions. Michael Gustovich, when he read the script, he's like, I want to draw that bad guy. I love that bad guy. So there you go. It's finally revealed the bad guy to the people. There you go. There you go. I love that. I could stare at that over and over again. Everything else is here. The glass. This card has been revealed. We've got 2 more cards to get. That was Dame. We got Gams, and then we got Dr. Robug, and then there's Lucius Kane to be revealed finally. So let's scroll back up. Okay, look at that. Look at that cover. That is just awesome. That is just awesome. Yep, sounds on. My computer froze. My computer is like this close to dying. So there we go. We're going to leave that there while we're talking. So what do you guys think? Oh, we got a guest. Here you go, Marcus. How's everything? Did you see my computer freeze and my mouse die? That was a lot of fun.
I'm back.
Yep.
I know I missed that. I was getting coffee and going to the bathroom.
There you go.
Finding. I feel like you're on Indiegogo. You're official.
Right.
I know the Fund My Comic is official, but it's like Indiegogo was the CG, and all the CG campaigns should be on Indiegogo at one point or another, even if it's not going to be your home. Maybe that'll switch to Fund My Comic at some point, but, it's like the one, we all back first,
Yep.
and we're all CG no matter what. That's how it is. When you go meet everybody in person, none of all that other stuff melts away. So,
Where am I?
that cover is awesome. That cover looks like it should have a Marvel comic, in 1983.
Yeah, that's
Even
the
more
whole
80s up until 93. I mean, it really is a great cover.
that is the whole point of it. That it's supposed to be oh geez, I keep hitting buttons and I don't know what I'm doing. That's supposed to be the whole point. Is it's a return to like Bronze Age Marvel comics.
It's a great cover. He did a great job.
Yeah. What am I doing now? I'm not starting a campaign. I'm trying to go back. Okay, my campaign. There we go.
What am I doing now?
I'm like hitting buttons and
I'm just as bad. Let's see, Amex. This. I wonder if I have any money on that.
Yep, Mike Gustovich, just some sheet. Yep, that's the Mike Gustovich. Mike Gustovich was I don't know how RJ from the Fourth Age got a hold of Mike Gustovich, and it's funny because in my mind he was like a crotchety old man and angry and everything. He is the nicest, sweetest guy. He calls me young man. He's just such a pleasure, and I approached him. And he was like, of course, I'd love to draw. Tell me about your comics. Send me a script. And he read it. He goes, oh, can I draw the bad guy? I love the bad guy. So he drew Dr. Robug.
People are afraid to get into this, but he could do just as big as anybody, as Aaron or anybody here. If he did his own book and crowdfunded it,
Yeah, he's a little.
People can't do that.
He's a little upset because he lost he lost
his characters. Yeah, I feel bad. I just remember that John Byrne double page spread. Remember that?
Yep.
Of Justice Machine. You'd go to comic convention, you see Mike Gustovich there all the time back then. When I was a kid going to New York Comic Cons, 14, 15 years old, there's Gustovich was always there, and Bob Layton was always there. Always.
Yeah, Bob Layton is kind of a tough guy to talk to.
Is he?
Yeah. I asked him to come on my channel, and his handler goes, "Oh, what do we get out of it?" I'm like,
yeah, it's a weird because I met him when I was a kid, and I bought the cover from Iron Man 148 for him for $35, and he was a really nice guy. Like, he was one of those artists out. You watch Bob Layton draw, and Brent Anderson, the guy who did Kazar, and Bill Sienkiewicz when he was real young. And I can't say them. When I was a kid, I was a little more shy, and I was watching them draw the whole time. My brother's like, "Let's go buy comics. Let's go buy comics," and I'd be like hanging around Artist Alley, taking notes, and so I always have a positive view of him, but I know that it's not that positive. In my head, but he really recreated, him and David Michelini and John Romita Jr. recreated Iron Man, to what, and it became a movie. Like that's their story. The origin plus the character, he, screwed over Jim Shooter at one point. I mean, all sorts of stuff. Yeah, that whole breakup of Valiant didn't go well. That's a big story. You want, there's an 8-hour stream of Shooter talking about stuff like that out on the internet by comic historians. If you want to go through that one day, But what do we get out of it? He lives in South Korea, Bob Layton. You know that?
Yeah.
I follow him on X.
Yeah, me too.
I like seeing his drawings, but
I messaged him a few times, and he like I said, I messaged him, and then his handler interrupts me and well, what's in it for Bob?
Nothing.
Just talk about comics, that's all I really want to do.
Is that Spencer Beck?
I don't even know his name.
That's the agent he always talks about. That guy's at all the cons. He's the big artist agent. Sells their originals. I don't know. It's weird that he lives in Korea.
Yep.
You know. Oh, there's Edwin.
Oh, how you
Edwin
doing?
should come in. I'll
Yeah,
post
come on
him.
in.
I
I
got
love the Elementals of Justice Machine. I had the cross. Yeah, that's the series that introduced me to the Justice Machine. I didn't know the Justice Machine until that series. And oh, by the way, there's an Elementals comic on Kickstarter right now. Like, is this official? Like, is this just somebody like nobody owns the Elemental? I asked
Who
Bill.
owns the Elementals? Bill Willingham doesn't, right? He got screwed out of that too.
He got screwed. He got screwed.
Oh, what a surprise! What a surprise! Let's see.
Yeah, everybody got screwed in Comico.
Yeah,
I forget the two guys that owned it. So what happened was they were doing pretty good in the direct market, and then they decided to go into the. I was reading up on this, and then they decided to go into newsstands. So they started making more and more comics to go on the newsstands, but then they didn't sell on the newsstands.
No, I know.
Turned, and that it like in like 6 months they were going bankrupt from all. They had like deals with the newsstands, so they should have just stayed in the direct market. And then this guy Rev something came in and just I think he was a shyster and everything. What's his name? Was telling me about it. Jim O'Reilly. What's happening? I keep hitting buttons and keep talking. I'm trying to figure something out.
I'm just getting Edwin's link, if you don't mind. There was another guy I know from the internet. I never met him. I talked to him on the phone like 14 years ago, and I was pitching an Image comic with him. It was a fascinating idea. They were kind of like the responders. They were first, like a doctor, a nurse, paramedic, fireman, as superheroes. But I was just started at AT&T at the time, working like 60, 70 hours a week, and then trying to draw like 11 pages. It took a while. And I didn't know, I was taking it on like they'd say, oh, you got to go to New Orleans and work. And I'd be taking my art stuff to New Orleans. So it didn't work out. But he is starting a comic with John Dillard, Darren Wagner. Maybe you should have him on. He talks about he's an ex-Navy. He likes to talk about submarines. I was on another forum with him years ago. Fairly opinionated. He might be a good guest who's starting a campaign. He might have seen him in some chats.
Oh, I'm showing you behind the scenes. You don't show that.
Look, everybody. The only issue is everybody has a campaign. I was talking to my writer, and we talked about Captain Courage. I'm doing the Inuit story with him, and I think he's getting excited to do it because you need somebody else to do it. But I was all up, and that's the first thing I wanted to do is do a comic like you're doing, John. And I'm like, I can't do it. I don't know if I have time, or the money to do it. And everybody's doing a comic. It's like, it's not competition, but there's a lot of choices, say. So the money in this economy is getting spread thin. So it's, you're brave. You're courageous. So, so then I want to do other stuff, if I can, but still, it's not easy. It's not easy to work and do this comic, the crowdfunding, and they get too many people get killed. Oh, it's late. Why does it take a year to do a comic? Oh, people are working 40, 50 hours a week to make, it's not all our business. Some of them is our business. And those are the guys doing 72-page graphic novels. But even a floppy, look how long it takes. It's just a floppy, right?
Yeah.
So when Marvel and DC do those comics that's coming out monthly and it takes them 6 weeks, nowadays, the art's too deep. Well, with the computer, it's not as big a deal, but still. It takes too long. It's hard to do it, Gene Colan got hooked on amphetamines,
Oh, really?
Yep, he tells a story when he was doing Doctor Strange in the late '60s, doing like 3 books a month. He's not a fast artist, but in to stay up late at night, and he got hooked on that. Yeah, that's the pressure. That was back then. He always told us, "You could make a living at this, but you'll never get rich." He wasn't a rich guy.
I'm just looking to see if you could go on Google and find my campaign and everything like that.
I typed it into Indiegogo with your name, John, and your last name, and I found it. But when I put in Heroic Tales, I may have misspelled Heroic Tales. I didn't see it, but I think I misspelled it. You know, I fat finger. I'm not a good typist. I don't think you're shadow banned, but I was worried about that. Let me try again.
Yeah, that's
I'm the one who discovered the shadow ban for some of these guys, by the way.
I don't look like I'm shadow banned. Sorry that I'm not talking. I was like, wait a minute, I can't find it. I started to panic a little bit.
That's why I'm talking, because I know that you're looking at something else.
Yeah.
But I was the one, they were doing a Kings episode. This was like now, it was the beginning of First Man. It was Graham. It was about the time Wraith of God won. And I'm sitting there searching for this stuff. I don't even know if I backed these guys yet. But I knew Andy. And I go, I can't search for these guys. I can't find them. And I texted him while he was on. I think you're shadow banned. I was the one who found the shadow ban.
I can't believe that.
I felt guilty about it. Let's see. And nobody's got a reason why they're shadow banned. They think it's political, but some of these guys aren't that political.
Right. I think
they're not posting a whole ton of stuff.
The algorithm, like we all say the algorithm, but it's like it's
okay, if I type in Heroic Tales spelt correctly, you come up.
Oh, good. That's
There's
what I was trying to do.
Short film, Blackheart and Valentine, which is Bill Williams, and Bill Willingham, right? Which you're going to back, I think, starting at $7. Let's go figure that out. And your comic, like I said, says starts at $25. I don't know why it says that. I don't know what Indiegogo's made some changes that are a little crazy, but it did come up on Indiegogo just on a blank thing.
We got a backer.
Well, just so you know,
we got a backer.
I don't have any money. Well, I backed you on the other 2 campaigns. I'll eventually back you on this campaign. Just be patient.
Okay, so I'm closing everything out and opening everything just to see. Okay, I'm starting fresh because I just want to make sure that I can be found. Okay, search Heroic Tales. Okay, I just realized like I never actually closed out. Okay, cool. I come right up.
Good.
Nice. All right. I was freaking out because I couldn't find my stuff.
I know. I wanted to find that. I worry about that. I think eventually that Fund My Comic should take over for Indiegogo. I think a lot of the same people that back on Fund My Comic also back on Indiegogo. I think the Kickstarter is different people. That's just my feeling. But there's some people don't like Fund My Comic. So
Kyle Prometheus did this trailer for me. How cool is this trailer?
Oh wow, he's a nice guy. I follow him. He's a nice guy.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, now I'm going to check the comments. I was freaking out because I thought I was shadow banned. I was sorry, guys, but I was kind of panicking. I love Pat Broderick's art style. Yeah, Lords of the Ultra Realm is kind of a forgotten comic. That's why I use a regular mouse. Yeah, my mouth. It wasn't my mouse. My whole computer froze.
Oh, I remember Lords of the Ultra Realm. Yeah.
Sounds up. Okay, this is from when my computer froze. Heroic Tales. Yeah, so right now you can get this on Indiegogo. And on Indiegogo right now is the only place you can get the Mike Gustovich cover. And if you go to Fund My Comic, you could get the Pat Broderick cover and the Michael T. Gilbert cover. Although we got to adjust that perk level to get the Michael T. Gilbert cover. So it's on Fund My Comic, but you can't get it just yet. I gotta fix that. That's a good thumbnail. Thank you. Yes,
but, but what if you mess up with Indiegogo and your campaign, it's way harder. You can't just call Luke Stone. There's no Luke Stone in Indiegogo. Like that's the biggest thing. That's the best thing that you could possibly do. To
Right.
have that,
I
be able
just
to
called
get
them
things
the other day because I forgot to put it as a store.
I saw that it's a store now, though.
Yeah.
They and some of the bigger creators are going to do books at Fund My Comic. We just have to be patient with them.
I'm just talking to Mike. Luke Stone just messaged me now.
I don't know how he does it. God bless him.
Yeah, he draws, he writes, he
Yeah, I
does,
know.
he runs the site,
And he runs that site.
and I think he has a congregation. I think he's a preacher.
I know he was a preacher, and he's sick too. I mean, he never really recovered. He
He's in a wheelchair still, right?
yeah, that's what I think so. He was in it a lot longer than I was. You know, it's a similar story, but his is way worse. Um, so you know,
All right. Hey, we got one backer. Cool. It looks like they got the Mike Gustovich cover, which I expect people will probably going to get because he had 2 opportunities to get the Renzo cover. Let's. What are your thoughts on companies like Skybound and McFarlane doing crowdfunding? You know, what are the rules on crowdfunding? Like they could do it. You know, anybody could do it. Like it doesn't
they
take away
shouldn't
from
need.
me.
They
Like, do they
shouldn't
need
need to do
to?
crowdfunding, but if they want to do crowdfunding, I
Right.
mean, like the Mythic Americas, they crowdfunded. They crowdfund. They don't crowdfund the. I do the story, and it goes on their website, right? And they call it graphic novels, but it's only 8 pages, and I don't letter it. So if you go read it, be my guest. I'm not taking credit for the lettering, or not, or taking blame. But they crowdfund stuff all the time. It's a game, just like you buy games. It's a gaming company. They crowdfund. Gaming companies crowdfund their own stuff all the time. I think it's a chance for everybody to do comics, and I don't know, but a lot of people don't do it. Like Bill Williams or Bill Williams who crowdfunds, or Bill Willingham. They don't want to do it. They're afraid to do it. You know what the hardest thing is? You had Tom DeFalco on, and they did a comic that looked great. That Right project looked great.
Yeah, I wish I saw that. I'm so
You
mad that I
know,
missed it.
your boy Zach talked about it. That's how I found out about it. It was a couple of years ago, and he was following campaigns, and his feeling is you need 1,000 backers, and his whole thing, and he goes, they didn't get that many backers, but I remember them maybe doing one YouTube. So they talked about it, but he wasn't on every show. He didn't try to get, they're so afraid to be. They do it on Indiegogo, so that's one thing. Some of these people don't want to do an Indiegogo. That means you're a certain way, But I don't want to be political, so I'm going to say a certain way. And
Yeah.
Kickstarter's the other way. And I don't know. I mean, they don't want to get on. I mean, Tom DeFalco, he could sell his comic if he got out there. He could have his own thing. I've asked people how to do this, and basically they spend a year or 2 to build your YouTube channel because it's the only way to promote your comic. And so that's the wall. That's the wall. The promotion's the wall.
Yeah, I asked. I messaged Tom DeFalco if I could get a copy, and he said he doesn't even have any.
You know what? I think it's Fabian's brother might have a Mariano Niscienza. I Googled it yesterday. Let me see if I can find it. I'll put a link in.
Okay. It used to be a measure of success in the indie comics world. If you came out with at least 4 issues, do you think it still works?
Not with this.
Geez, you know how hard it is to come out with one? That's why I want to do complete stories every issue, because it's hard enough for a mainstream comic to come out with multiple issues. In this field, oh my God, it's a monumental effort to get this far. So yeah, like I don't want to put out, like if you buy this comic, you're going to get 2 complete stories, a long story and a short story. Issue number 2, Renzo already has both scripts for the Mary Sue story and the Patriarch story, and they're both complete. Like comics used to be. I think of it as like a string of pearls. You're going to get a full pull, but if you'll get a string of them that add up to a necklace. How's that for a tortured analogy? You know what I mean? Like things will lead into other things sooner or later over time. There's foreshadowing, things will be mentioned, but I don't want you to miss an issue. But if you miss an issue, you're not going to be lost, because it takes months, it takes a lot of time. And then, like, I got into a car accident, Daniel's dad had a heart attack, things happen. There's no guarantee, and I don't have the infrastructure like Marvel to have another guy just jump in the seat. So I want every issue to be self-contained. Tragic started out so strong, though. The elementals you're talking about, yeah.
The other thing about it is that it's hard to do the comics. Like, why did they come out? Like, 4 issues. You'd have to have 4 issues done ahead of time to crowdfund it, to publish it. Boom, 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 boom. And the only guy who really does that is Brian Pulido.
Right.
And then he gets into the comic stores, and he has got a whole thing going. But he's like the grand master. He's writing it, but he's not writing all of it anymore. And he's got to be the grand master and be able to juggle, be a real publisher. Some of these guys want to do that, but they're not giving up their attitude. Like Aaron Lopresti has about 500 ideas, and he can only do one at a time. That's why he always has backup stories with his different characters. But does he want to farm out to another artist to draw this, and have several campaigns of different comics going on at once? Who's gonna keep control of all that stuff?
I want to address what Alex Johnson says. Do you guys have Pantheon and Heroic Tales from Lone Star by Bill Willingham? I do. I love Pantheon. Was the unofficial continuation of the Elementals. It was the same tone, and it finished off a couple of stories, even though they had to work around it because it was another company and new characters. So if anybody's interested in the Elementals, I recommend you hunt down the Pantheon comics by Lone Star Comics by Bill Willingham. It starts out with Bill Willingham drawing them, and then I forget who ends up. To me, I thought it was a bait and switch because Willingham didn't finish drawing them, and then also Heroic Tales was a lot of the same characters. And I talked to Bill Williams; he's my letterer, and he gave me the blessing to use the title, and he has built. There's a Pantheon Blackheart Bill Williams comic on Kickstarter right now. If Marcus, you could find that link, we'll throw that up there. Bill Williams might actually come on later and promote, but yeah, it's called Blackheart on a Kickstarter. I'll look it up.
Okay, so I just put in a private chat. Blackheart, link to Apex Comics, not the one we know that has all Blue Sultan and all that stuff that other people do. I think it's Fabian's brother.
Oh,
Black of Heart.
So this is Blackheart and Valentine. This is like the Batman.
Oh, okay, yeah, I saw that.
This is on Kickstarter right now. This is by Bill Willingham, and this is
that's on Indiegogo as well.
Williams, yeah. This is Kickstarter. I think it's on Indiegogo also. I'm clicking on this private thing that you said.
Blackheart and Valentine. Let me see. I'll get that link. All right. If I could type, I'd be dangerous. So when you write, do you write on the computer, or do you write it longhand first and then type it, or where'd he go?
I popped out. I hit the wrong button.
I was asking you how you wrote your comics. Do you write it longhand first, like in a plot form for yourself, or do you type it on a computer, word processor?
I can't write with a pen or pencil, if that's what you're asking. So I type everything out.
Okay. That's what I was asking.
I type everything out. Just like almost like blah, just vomit, just to get the story out, and then clean it up. and then I write, and then I send like a full script over to Renzo with the description of everything, and then I rewrite it again, just dialogue to Bill, because Bill doesn't need the red building in the background, and so I write it like, very least 3 times, at the minimum 3 times. God, how many times over and over again, I don't know,
Right.
but like I go into that original vomit script, and I never delete it. I just go in and I fix it up. Like I think of it as like sculpting. You know what I mean? Because it's not like I just throw out that whole thing. Like, okay, this page, I'll move this over here, move this over. So I don't even know how many times I read, but I tinker with it way too much, to the point that I was tinkering with it this morning before I sent it over to Bill. So
I wonder what program he uses to letter. That's interesting to me.
yeah.
I used to hand letter. I'm not that great at it, but I used to do it.
Oh, I'm just trying to look at other stuff.
So you can't. Does it bother you to write? You just get your hand cramps, or just a
Yeah, I can't even read my own handwriting. When was the last time you actually
okay.
wrote? When was the last time you actually wrote anything?
I write I write in all capitals because I'm a comic artist.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I started adopting that, and then it drove everybody nuts.
Oh, I
But
can't.
I have to letter. Like when we were in school, we were taught how to letter our comics. We had to letter all these things, and you're supposed to letter them with a tip pen. We watched Phil Felix. He lettered a lot of stuff for Marvel, like Nom and stuff, and it's like magic. Like, it's so perfect. He didn't even pencil it out first, but the rest of us have to use microns. But I haven't lettered in a while. My writer, he does the lettering, and his lettering was better way back when than it is now. He doesn't have a greatest balloon placement, but what can I do? It's definitely something to think about.
Oh.
My theory was I would take the full script and then treat it like a plot anyway. If I had to add something, he didn't care. Although I lost the script and then I started to fight a page and a half early, I don't think he was too happy at one of the stories. A band of B. Oh, we should do that. Let's share.
What's that?
I'm talking to myself. I'm going to share your. I have my phone. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to share this out.
Oh, what you sharing?
Share your stream. I always share it early on, for the most part. I'm sorry I missed your closeout. I just got too tired.
It's okay.
I know you I feel bad, and then you're like, "Oh, it's all right."
It's okay.
You should probably have another mod or two.
Yeah, I had a bunch, and then you're the only one to let. Well, Haldir comes a lot too. I can't complain.
Maybe Zach Tan or something. He always shows up. Who made me a mod the other day?
I don't
Well,
know.
Graham Nolan made me a mod, and then I don't even want. It's too much work. This mod thing is too much work. I feel like I should be. Oh, and then what's this? RT Bear made me a mod, and like now I feel like I'm responsible to be like everywhere.
Yeah, you don't get it right off.
But they had an attack. He had an attack of bots, and I had to take care of that last week, and so that was like kind of exciting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had to like delete all these people. They were like just spamming the whole chat.
Okay, so I'm gonna do this. Oh,
I'm ready if you get a bot attack.
Yeah, I'm not big enough. So this is these are my new comics that I just got today. So I always call this my monthly visit. So I just got my comics from a discount comic book service. So I figured I'd show these off.
Nice.
So these are the comics that are new to me that I actually collect. So here's collect. So Local Man. I had Tim Seeley on my channel a couple weeks ago. I'm gonna move this.
Okay. He was really nice.
Yeah, he real nice guy.
Real nice guy. Yeah.
I forgot that he did so many comics that I enjoyed. This comic I really like. This is It's goofing on 90s Image comics. So he was a 90s Image superhero, but it's 2024. He went home. He kind of goofed up and messed up. So like I don't know if because this is the comic that gave me the idea for the it's a flip book. So you see how it looks like a 90s comic on one side, and it's
fantastic.
You know what I mean? So this is always like early Image style stuff.
It is. And
then this is him kind of home in disgrace, solving crimes. I think it's a real clever comic. I told him that. I said, you inspired me to do flip comics. And he's like, I love flip comics. So there you go. What is this? Oh, Savage Dragon. Mickey Mouse. I don't know. Every month I tell myself.
Oh man, I went on the quote pirate site to hear what everybody was talking about, what he did to Mickey Mouse. And if I told you what he did to Mickey Mouse, I would be kicked off of YouTube. It is vile. It is pretty vile. I don't know what he's thinking. And the
Something's
fact
wrong
that
with it. Every month I say this is the last Savage Dragon.
I don't understand. He went through I know he went through a spot like that, Eric Larson, and then he kind of pulled back on it. Now he's back to it. Like, what is he thinking?
I think he's got mental problems. I got this Conan, but I'm missing the first issue, so I haven't read any of these yet because I'm retentive.
You better get that. It might be expensive.
Nexus Battle for Thune World.
Oh, is that the crowdfunded one?
No, this
came from Discount.
This came from Discount Comic Book Service. So this is Mike Barron and Steve Rude.
The
newspaper strips. This is 4 of 5. Usagi Yojimbo.
Yeah, that's good. He does everything.
Yeah, this guy does. He was the letterer for Gru the Wanderer.
That's right.
Yeah, so he did the lettering for Gru the Wanderer, and then from Gru the Wanderer, I heard them talking about Usagi Yojimbo. I was like, let me try it, and I resisted because I'm like, it's animals.
Well, yeah,
but I tell you guys, just get past the animals. It's a great comic.
Sergio Aragonés did a signing in the comic shop I was working with. He was a really nice guy. He put a cartoon. He's so fast. He would put a cartoon of Gru every signature. Like it'd be Gru cutting his own foot off, and then like Sergio Aragonés.
Larson Savage Dragon is wild. I have every issue. This is issue 5 of 5, so now I can read it because these like 5-issue series. I get so many comics. I'll forget, So
I wish Rude would, for his painting, would use a lighter base. I watch some of his YouTube stuff, and he puts a dark, like brown base, and that's why all his paintings come out looking a little dark to me.
Yeah,
instead of as bright as I want Nexus to be.
This is the 3rd issue of Desdemona going on a quest. I got Gargoyles, and then they started to get a little SJW-y, and then I missed an issue, and then I haven't read them, so I gotta catch up to where I'm reading. So that might be on the chopping block. Grommets. Why did I get this? I wonder if I ordered this or did. Sometimes they just send me like they throw stuff.
Yeah, you're a good customer, so they throw what they think is good.
But Rick Remender, I'm kind of tired of Rick Remender, but I think I got this because it's like punk rock. Rick Remender, like he throws punk rock in his stuff. Yeah. Oh, Frankenstein issue 1.
Oh, that looks good. Who does that?
That's
neat.
Skybound, Michael Walsh and Tony Marie Griffin issue 1. I gotta say the Creature from the Black Lagoon one I really liked, and I missed the Wolfman one. I think I did. More Rocketeer. I'm way behind in my reading of these.
Billy is going to do a Rocketeer crowdfund.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did a story in Eisner winning. They did Heroes for Ukraine.
Okay.
Thing, and he did a story that won Eisner. So he's going to take his story and put all sorts of extras in it, and he's going to donate to charity, to the cancer charity that
good. Cool.
Dave Stevens died from. So that crowdfund should be coming up soon.
Okay.
The cover looked great. This
is Saga. This took like a year off and then came back. And I got to say,
I like Saga.
It was good that they did because I think they were meandering and it was pretty self-indulgent. And now it's like they refocused. I love this series.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I started watching the TV show, but the show gets on my nerves because he's a bad guy in the show, and I guess he's going to become good. In the show, he's trying to exterminate all life on Earth.
You know, that's
In
funny.
the comic book, he was always a good guy. He just doesn't want to be dissected by the government, so he's just hiding, and he has like these mesmeric abilities. So he says like 1 out of 1,000 people can see through his and see that he's an alien. So he goes in like a, like I forget where, like Montana or something like that, where there's less people, but he was always a good guy. I like that. These Witcher comics are excellent. I got to say, I hated the TV show. Even the first season, I didn't like it. But these Witcher comics are really good. Red Coat. I think I'm a couple issues behind in reading it. Red Coat.
I love those sharks.
Yeah,
That's great. I'll buy anything with sharks.
His more local man. Let's see what the other cover is. Yeah, I get a kick out of it. So here's the 90s cover. And then here's the yeah.
Join us, Moromi. You could come on.
Hey, Maroni.
Anybody can join us, by the way. I don't have to be the only one talking over John. We can have other people talk.
And Lester of the Lesser Gods. This I like. This Eric Powell does the Goon.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he
Look at that.
He does these like little side characters. So this is Lester, who is he's a god, but he's like a nerd god or a goofball god. So they send him out to like go die, but he never dies because
He looks like Cecil.
Yeah, it does. It looks like it. Here's the Goon. Oh, nice. Them that don't stay dead. We're back to Eric Powell actually drawing it. Eric Powell took like a year off to do that Ed Gein book. That was phenomenal. And I don't like when other people do the Goon, but I got to say that the person they did the story of the beer like the beer union fighting with the witches union over making these. It was an excellent story. Excellent story. Geiger. This looks great.
That looks good.
Babs. Oh, what? Oh, Garth Ennis. That's why I got it. Garth Ennis. Okay.
That looks. I'm not gonna say.
Well, I'm a big fan of Garth Ennis.
I know you are.
I give it.
I like Garth. He's fine.
Okay. Thorn.
Oh right, yeah. That came out in the comic store too.
Yeah. This is the college strip. So this predates. This predates Bone.
Okay. He was on the Pop XP. It was a great interview. You should try to get Jeff Smith. Did you have Jeff Smith?
I would love to. Oh,
he was a really nice guy. You should try to get Jeff Smith on. He'd like to talk to you.
Yeah, I'll try. I didn't even think of it. And then I got these magazines. So I thought everything was unwrapped before I did. But then again, I'm not very professional, as you can see by my computer crashing.
You're not the only one with computer crashing.
Okay. That took way too much work. Vampirus Camilla. So it says a Warrant magazine. I got tricked by these. I thought Warren started publishing again. But these are just, horror anthologies. They're not as good because those masters are gone, but they're good enough, so like no harm, no foul. They tricked me. And by the time I realized I was tricked, I was hooked. So these are my new comics, so I still do get new comics.
Does your wife read any of your comics?
Will she read my comic? I hope so.
Is there any comic that she likes?
She read Sandman. She read Fables. And then an odd comic once in a while. I bought her Supernatural comics. She really liked that show. There was Grumpy Cat comics for a while. I bought those for her. But she's not really into comics.
I remember when we were going out, my wife, like the mystery comics, Mystery, anything that was a mystery. Somerset Holmes.
Oh, yeah, Mystery I loved.
She really liked Somerset Holmes. She liked a lot of those ones from Eclipse, like Crossfire, and those mystery comics that Mark Evanier was writing.
Yeah.
But after a while, those all went away. Then there's just superheroes left.
And then these are the comics that I've been
I had
reading the
that.
past couple of days. So I just read this today.
Like that. Yeah, I
Adam
read
Smith.
that.
This is Art Adams, rather. I said Adam Smith, but I meant Art Adams.
Right.
I have they just don't know what to do with Cloak and Dagger. I always thought, and it was like, to me, it was like they were like an abusive relationship, like I couldn't get into it because like Dagger was like all nice and everything happy, and then Cloak was like this.
Yeah, he was really morose.
Yeah, he was morose, and he was dependent on like they were codependent. He wouldn't let her leave. Like this issue, Cloak tries to Dagger tries to leave and join the circus, but Cloak won't let her do it. It's like because he is fighting literally the darkness within him, and it turns out he doesn't even have a body. They try to give him clothes so he can disguise himself as, but he doesn't even have a body underneath his cloak. There's nothing there, just whatever. So she goes off and joins the circus, and he's just like getting angry in it because he needs her
He
life.
needs her to. Yeah, I know. I remember that.
And so now,
It
like,
was such a well drawn comic. I mean,
he's afraid that he's
Bernardi
gonna
and Adams.
kill people, and then he does. He absorbs a car coming at him, and then releases the car and drives off a cliff. And he goes, "I didn't do that. Like he just did it." So I wonder if that's the whole point of that. He's going off the rails. This is Mike Mignola and Terry Austin. This was
There's a lot of Mike Mignola art. That's that Carl Potts office that had all those artists.
This is number 7. This is David. This is Silvestri, I think, this issue. So I mean, that top art, but it only lasted 11
That's a
issues.
Mignola cover.
Mercy Sparks. I like the series. She's a devil in the deployment of heaven to like, she was like rounding up rogue angels, and then later on rogue. It's the same thing as Supernatural, fighting devils and angels, stuff like that. She transforms into like a normal human and mixes with people. And she's a bad girl. She's drinking, smoking, and then she has like
There you go.
her buddy that like invents everything for her, and he's like friend zoned, and like she's like banging guys like right in front of him, and he's like, yeah, I feel bad.
Femforce.
This is actually this is like one of the better stories. This is a 3. I got to get the next one for the next story. But like all of Florida has been encased in a dome, and the Black Shroud is going to do like horrific, like sacrifice all the inhabitants of Florida to these elder gods, and the Femforce is trapped inside the dome, and then like all the Sentinels of Liberty are outside the. If you remember that Fantastic Four Avengers story,
I had a friend who collected all those. He is a cover. He won a cover contest. I think it's number 73 he drew, I think.
Well, I don't see how that's an abusive relationship. They're codependent, but he won't let her leave. She wants to leave, and she doesn't want to fight crime anymore. She wants to leave and join the circus. And he's like, "No, you're not. We have a mission." And she's like, "I want to." And then the decision gets taken out of him because the bad guys come and kill everybody. But he's like the boyfriend that won't let her have her own life. No, I told you, you stay. Devil Jack. This. I hate to say it, but these covers I really like. I got issue number 1 in the dollar bin on Free Comic Book Day. I was like, all right, I'll pay $1 for this, but I just didn't like it. I just didn't like it. It only lasted 3 issues. I thought it was just the art I really liked, but the story was a mess. I hate to say this because it's Innocenti, but this wasn't that good. The story wasn't good.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know if she's the same as she was,
But I have to say this: the reason why I continue getting it because these Judd Winnick stories were excellent. This was excellent. This serial killer called himself Dollhouse, and he was just taking good-looking college students and then like taxiderming them and posing them in like a warehouse. Like so, he would set up like a disco, so they were dead. But like so, he was making a dollhouse. It was pretty creepy. It was like a horror movie, and she was, solving it. And then this is just the Joker is playing chess. So he's putting chess pieces all throughout Gotham City. But the thing is, there's people inside the chess pieces, and pawns get sacrificed. So she's she's trying to convince the Joker that she's not a hero, but she's saving people. It's all right. It's all right. And then I wanted to read something by John Delarose because he's always talking about what a good writer he is. So
Yeah,
I
I
asked
know.
him directly. I said, "What should I?" And this. So this is drawn by Aaron Lepresti, the cover, but the inside is not. But it was all right. It wasn't good, wasn't bad. It was all right. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I liked it. And believe it or not, this was better than I thought. He just gave this to me. He was like, "Hey, John, I'm going to give this to you too." So this is goofing
Oh,
on.
that's his parody book, right?
Yeah, I don't like parody, but this was it was all right. I mean,
John is John. I watch his streams and stuff. I'm sure he does good comics.
but to me, this was like a good run of the mill regular.
It wasn't as good as he says he is.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's bad comic.
No, it's not. I'm not saying no. It's not a great comic. It's not a bad comic. I not to be mean, but I didn't have high expectations.
That's a fair assessment.
But
That's a nice cover.
there was I got to say that
The art looks good.
yeah, the art's fine. She solves the. I don't want to give any spoilers away in case people read it, but I did like a. It's set in like a Warhammer type universe. She goes in and investigates for the Emperor, and this planet's being taken over by like AI. So AI is taking over everybody. She had a clever way to defeat the AI, but I thought it was like a little, I don't know, matter of fact.
Well, you flip through the comic, and as an artist, I see all the slanted panels and explosions and no panels here. And then I just don't, and then Dennis Turner does a lot of flip throughs, of his comics that he buys on Wednesdays. And it's a lot of these comics. He calls them indies. And I just don't, it's not clear. And I know that I'm boring and in like a 6 grid. And, I break up the grid and change sizes of panels and do some overlaps. But after a while, like even Gene Colan, everybody loves Gene Colan, but all the slanty panels and floating panels, I get to start get bleary eyed. It's got to be a little more straightforward for me.
I just realized I closed out my Indiegogo stream, so I want to pull it up, see if there's any movement.
Let's see. You have 2 backers.
2 backers. Cool.
Hey, they spent a lot of money though.
Oh, cool. 2 backers. Thank you.
I have to back it. I don't have any money. I'm a money problem.
The only thing is,
stuff I want to back, and I just can't do it.
The only thing I'm upset about. Oh, I'm not even showing it. Okay. Oh, let me remove that so we don't need this camera anymore. The only thing I'm a little upset with, I guess I didn't check it enough, but I thought this was not going to show. But new campaign. These covers weren't supposed to be on here at all. You weren't supposed to see this because this is only on Fun My Comic. I'm not showing it. I'm not showing it properly.
Let me see.
Okay.
Oh, Renzo Gustovich class. That's a good deal. The digital copies. I see the main cover.
Oh,
the Gustovich cover.
Like the Pat Georgia cover. You weren't even supposed to see this. This is only on Fun My Comic. So this.
But looking at what you're supposed to back, that's not an option. Backing option.
Right. So why is it even on here? Like this is not supposed to be on there. Like
I see it. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Like if anybody new to this, they'd be like, "Well, I want this." I mean, I guess I could say,
that could happen.
You know what I mean? So they weren't.
You might have to edit that out.
Well, that's what I was trying to do, and I don't. I think it's live already. I don't think I could edit anything once it's live.
Wow.
So
on the other hand, if it's not an option when they buy it, though, so you'll just get questions.
Right. So this is the only thing. This is the only new thing on this.
Unless you want to just include it, and then if they ask and just
I can't. I said the Pat Broderick was a Fun My Comic exclusive, so I'll be breaking my promise to people if I put it on something.
That's true.
You know.
Well, I don't mind, but that's true.
You can edit it after it's live. Good. So I'll you know, I was trying to do it while we were talking, and obviously I can't seem to do it. So I want to take down those 2 images. That's just it. And then if you go to Fund My Comic, the Michael T. Gilbert cover is on the site, but you can't buy it. So I asked Luke if we could add it as a perk. You know, now that the campaign's over, because I'm afraid to do stuff. Because I'm like, I know me. I'm just gonna hit a button and I'm
Hit
gonna
the wrong button. Yeah.
the whole site. So,
Wow, look at that. I'm looking at your cover. Can I see it bigger on your? He really did a nice job.
yeah, didn't he? And I have that. I have the.
I mean, it's just like the anatomy on it and everything. I mean, it. Like I said, it's something like it's like what I thought about when I drew it.
How
be
cool!
honest. Not that I'm not like Michael Gusevich. I'm just saying.
How cool is it to have the original artwork?
Yeah, that is cool.
You
And
know?
it's all he does everything by hand.
Yeah.
You know,
you could see little erasers. You could see little whiteout.
Whiteout. Yeah.
Michael T. Gilbert. I have the Michael T. Gilbert cover. I might as well show you that in the frame. What is it? Like, I don't know if you could see it, but you could see this patriarch is another piece of paper that he
he pasted it over. Wow, that's really old fashioned, boy.
Yeah, he pasted it over. I think the 10 cents is also pasted over.
You know what's really amazing is you see the paste overs and stuff, and then it prints and you don't see anything.
Right.
I know they clean it up in Photoshop and all, but even
the Comics Code Authority is pasted on. You can only see it. You can only see it if you're really.
Yeah, he did a great job. I did back that cover.
Yeah, and you could see
my address. It asked me a question.
You could see the lines that he drew and then erased to do the lettering. You know, I get a kick out this. I always smile when I look at that one. No offense to the other covers, like they have feelings.
Yeah, they just sent me an email and I updated my address for you. I guess they had a different address. I don't know.
Ernest says, just letting you know, the add-ons only allow the coin. If people wanted extra copies, they can't add them. Oh, okay. 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 So what do you mean? Like, you'd have to pledge again? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, I see what he means. You can't just add on for this. Let's say you want all 2 covers, both covers, and you just can't use it as an add-on. Although I think you have an option. You have all the options on the side. Add-on should not be a problem. The main cover, the Gusevich cover, both covers. Yeah, there's both covers there. Can you imagine getting both covers for $20 less than most everybody else's comic?
I know. You can get 2 covers cheaper than most people's.
You know, that's a pretty good deal. You can't get around shipping, so you can't even apologize for it. There's nothing you could do. So other than that, I mean, it's wonderful.
I'm just okay.
So are you going to do your own fulfilling at this point?
At this point, yeah, because I have to save money. I spent so much money. I saved all my. I mean, you were talking about. I did this for a while and nobody wanted them, but I saved all my, you know, whatever those things are that they package the comics in. If you want them. Oh, nice.
If you want them, I can see if I can help.
No. I messaged Nick who built my campaign. Nice. He fixed it. He's fixed it on the fly. So look at this. I was freaking out because I didn't want people to get upset that they saw covers. So now you see this cover, you see the back cover, and you see the variant cover. The other, he took off the other ones. Thank you, Nick. If you're watching this live, thank you so much.
Well, you don't have to worry about it. You're going to have a flip cover. You won't have to have as many variants this time.
Well, yeah.
Hold on a second.
For issue number 2, I'm going to have Renzo doing both covers. It's a flip cover. He's going to do the Mary Sue, which he already drew, and he's going to do the Patriarch. That's going to be one comic. And then the other comic, the Mary Sue, is going to be drawn by Josh Howard, who I think draws the cutest girl, so it's perfect. And then when you flip it over, it's Jose. Why am I forgetting his name? Jose Garcia. So is that it? There's 2 comics. That's it. So thank you, Nick.
Yeah, I have a bunch of Gemini mailers. If you want them,
Sure.
if it's not too much to set, I think. I'll DM you later if I need it. I think you sent me your. I don't want to dox your address before for something. But if it's not too expensive, I'll send them to you. I mean, I hate to just toss them, or if you could use them.
Oh yeah.
I get. It's got to be about, I don't know, 10 in there. You just have peel off different tape, sending people with 9 lives tape on it and stuff.
Okay, so Ernest, you could get the butt. So you got 3 Gustovich covers, but you wanted to get a 4th Gustovich cover. You weren't able to add it. Is that what you're telling me? And yes, we edited that. Okay. I'm talking to Nick live right here, so I just want to make sure. Okay, thank you. Any other? Excuse me, as I puke all over everybody. I'm just so nervous, guys. Thank you. Let me know if there's any problems. I'm not smart enough to do anything on the computer. Nick X built it for me, and he's fixing it while we speak. Okay, Ernest says correct. Oh, cool. I'm just happy that the extra, because I didn't want anybody to get mad at me. That's like my biggest thing, is I'm afraid of people getting mad at me.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
Well, most people aren't mad at you. Some are, I guess.
Well, I didn't start delivering to the wrong address yet and sending them the wrong thing yet. So, there'll be time to get mad at me. I'm actually looking right now. The pre-press and dealing with the printer is making me really nervous. I'm getting really nervous about that. But I think once I get boxes of comics sent to my house, sorting them out and everything,
you'll feel better.
That'll be fun. I like doing stuff like that. But I'm just so nervous that I'm gonna do the pre-press. There's gonna be a mistake that I'm not gonna notice, and then it's printed. I got 1,000 copies of and it's gonna have like everything backwards or up 3rd page upside. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. I'm so
You wouldn't be the first. You wouldn't be the first person.
Yeah, but I don't want to. Okay. If I'm in Graham Nolan, okay, that made me feel good, Ernest. If Graham Nolan's fixing stuff on launch
all the time, they're always, even Andy Smith. There's something they forget. There's an add-on they have to fix.
And speaking of Graham Nolan, I got to say, how cool is this challenge coin for Monster Island? And just to show.
Did you read that yet?
No, I got it.
I read. I didn't get the first Monster Island, so I'm loving that black and white.
So I have a challenge coin for this, but it's not on any campaign yet. I'm thinking I'm probably going to do it for issue number 2. Because I didn't want people to be like, "Oh man, I backed on Fun My Comic and you didn't have this cool thing until Indigo." So I think issue number 2, I'm gonna put these challenge coins, but I'm also want to put these coins. You know what I mean? I really like these coins. And did I tell you guys I found a place that'll make the t-shirts the way I want?
Oh no, that's great.
Yeah. So this place, it's I'm like trapped in the house. Yesterday was the first time I actually drove. I just wanted to drive, get out of the house. And it's funny because the not check engine light, the empty gas light came on, and I drove home because it's been 6 weeks without a paycheck. I'm like, I can't even afford to fill up my gas tank right now, and I'm just driving around like an idiot. So I just went home.
Yeah, that's a long time without a paycheck. That sure is. Let's see. And what else? Let's post more stuff that you guys can see.
Okay, guys, Nick is updating it. Ernest, we're answering your question. We got 52 people watching. I'm not trying to screw anybody. So if you backed a bundle of 3 comics and you wanted to add a 4th comic on, what should we do for shipping? That's what he's asking me right now. What do you guys think we should do for shipping? what would be fair?
Well, your shipping's $10, right?
Yeah.
No, 12. What's another $2? I think who does $12 shipping? I think Shane does $12 shipping, which kind of depresses me, but because I don't know where he lives, but he's not that far from me. I could drive up and pick up the comics. I don't see why I have to pay shipping if I'm local. So let's see. We still haven't on Fund My Comic. We're ignoring the Fund My Comic. We're only posting Indiegogo today. John 500. John. Okay, David, let's see. I did do fan art for that. I can put that link into that page of my comic art fans if you guys want to see it. I just have to find it. Let's see if I can find it. Actually, I should probably. I guess I can do it here. I can do it on my phone. Might be faster. Because let's see what else is going on. Yeah, hold on. I'll post a link to it. You guys can look at it. Let me find it.
Okay. All right. So Nick says because of the shipping problem, if you back to 3 bundle, but you want an additional comp, you got to back it again because of the shipping. They won't let us combine the shipping. So Ernest, I hope so if you get like the 3 bundle of 3 Gustovich covers, but you want say a Renzo comic, you're gonna have to back again. Because it causes a problem with the shipping. All right. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. A lot of comments just went by because, hey, why don't you come in? Come in with us.
Yeah. So we have a few comments here. I said hail to a lot of people, so no worries about that.
Nick says, "Help me, guys. I'm trying to understand what John's saying. I may or may not have drank a lot of rum. So we got a rummy over here updating my Indiegogo site. So
Nick can do it.
No,
I have all confidence in it.
I trust Nick more than I trust me.
So,
by the way, I want to comment with Dave said about my. You know why my screen didn't look right? Because every time I touch it, my big old greasy thumb was smearing. My wife goes, "Here, take this towel and wipe your lens," and I look great. So
what do we do without her?
Yeah, she's upstairs crying because she could hear that kitten crying underneath the
in case you can't get it.
We can't get it, and we can't reach in because it's too far in. And
maybe she put some food on the edge. She'll help.
Well, that's what we do. We put some. Well, we don't want it to eat because then it won't go into the trap. Because we put food in the trap, so it'll go in the trap. And if we feed it, it won't go into the trap. But mommy is getting fixed, so mommy won't be back until Sunday.
Are they going to take the notch out of mommy?
Yeah, they'll notch her. And
I had a cat with a notch.
The other kittens ain't coming back. They're going to get adopted. So, please.
Best cat I ever had a notch in his ear. So in the chat going on, David Alicia thought that having a pinup fan art's a cool idea. So I posted that in the chat so he can look at it. And Logic's Finest says, John, file for unemployment until you disappear.
Yeah, I was going to address that in a second, but I wanted Nick is like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do?
I don't want you to have too much dead air, so I'm trying to read stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Dead air is the death. So where am I? I'm scrolling back. Where am I? Hey Marcus. I can edit it after I was live. Okay, there we are. So we got Heroic Tales on Indiegogo. Thank you guys. Heck yeah, Monster Island. I love Monster Island. I'm really liking all.
I'm enjoying it. It's great. It's right up my alley.
Nice. You fixed your picture? Yes, my camera. I just talked about that. Black Heart and Valentine's. Got to help out my buddy Bill Williams. You know, he may or may not come here tonight. He said he was going out with a bunch of friends. So if I'm up late, he might show up. David, I'll see Heroic Tail Pin-Up Art. Yep. I'm thinking of that. I really want to do a letters page, guys. So if you want to get a letters page if you want to get a letters printed in Heroic Tales, it's heroicmails@yahoo.com, and it's sooner rather than later because we're doing the lettering and then it's pre-pressed. So I got to have everything. So if you want a letters page, it's Heroic Tales. Excuse me. Heroicmails@yahoo.com. Talk about crowdfunding, talk about me, talk about comic books in general, talk about fathers, talk about if you like the Patriarch already, even though you haven't read anything. Just anything. I think it would be fun to put letters in comics again. So otherwise I got to write a whole big article about, why I did something stupid like making my own comic book. Logic's finest. Come on in, Logic. When are you going to come in? You keep threatening to come in. Come in. John, file for unemployment until you disability. No, I can't file for unemployment and then disability. I said that right away. I can't do it. The problem is I have full coverage insurance, and the insurance said that they're going to.
You have good insurance. You have union insurance. That's gold standard insurance.
So the thing is,
fine.
The insurance company is going to reimburse me for all my pay, but the insurance company is dragging their feet. So I thought I was going back to work in 2 more weeks. And so I was just like, all right, I'm going to be going back to work. I'll start getting paid. And then I was going to get all this back pay. But now I'm going to be out for who knows how long. So now I'm starting to work.
Here's Butterscotch is here. Speaking of a cat we got out of the pound. I'd pick him up, but he doesn't like to be picked up that much.
I'm just answering, Nick.
Say hi for me. Butterscotch. I like to act like the cats like me better than my wife, and then she gets mad. So let's see what else is going on. So on this campaign, which I'm not sharing the screen, you guys can still get the glasses, by the way.
Yes.
So if you guys say, a glass.
I love Graybeards.
Comics is $25. It can't be any worse. You can't get any better than that. And if you're really cheap or don't have enough money, you can do the digital copy. But, people talk all about the digital copy. We want digital. And I don't see a lot of numbers on digital when I look in the campains.
Okay, Ernest, Nick is adding it right now that if you say you back the 3 bundle, but you want to get a 4th comic, what he's going to do is it's going to split the difference of the shipping and add it on because Indiegogo is being funny with the shipping. So he thinks he found a work around it. So there you go. Thank you guys for helping me edit this as we go along. And I feel made me feel a lot better that Graham Nolan's working this because to me, he's the gold standard of this. And if Graham Nolan is doing this on opening night, then I should be on fire. So
he always makes a mistake at opening.
So the fact that I'm not on fire means I'm ahead of the game.
Always.
Very cool art. What did I miss for the very cool
art? I posted my link to my Patreon.
Okay.
In the chat because David asked.
You thought I had a blunt party? No, I'm just freaking out because I messed up. I'm here trying to help you guys just order from all the sites. So thank you, Ernest. Thank you. And I have to say, Ernest, thank you for reposting everything and liking everything. I don't deserve guys like you. You're so nice. I was going to say use food. Oh, yeah, to get the kittens? Yes. One of the kittens was very playful. It just ran right into the trap. Boom, we got that one right away. That one's going to be like a fun kitten that somebody wants to adopt immediately. It's a black and white, beautiful cat. The other 2 are just pure black cats, and they seem to huddle together. They wouldn't come out. So the professional trapper, this woman, Heather, she on her phone was playing cat noises on her, and she just put the phone and then hid. So it came out and went to the phone, which is on top of the trap, and so we've been trying to do that with this third one, but I guess this is the scaredy cat. I guess it's like mom's gone, siblings are gone, I'm by myself. I guess but it hasn't eaten anything because they were still suckling, and the only solid, because we keep the solid food on the porch. They weren't coming so I don't even know if this cat has eaten solid food yet. So I don't, does the cat know it can eat solid food? So my wife's upstairs crying. Unemployment and workers' comp. Yeah.
We don't get workers' comp.
Well, I've been getting $170 a week from the disability because the rest is coming out of the insurance. So I've been living on $170 a week, but I have savings, I have stuff like that. I'm not touching the crowdfunding money, but now that I don't know when I'm going back to work, it's like insurance. They said it was going to come in today. They didn't come in today. So I tried to call them. There was no answer.
Oh, they're hard to get on the phone.
Yeah. This guy has been excellent. So this is the first time. You have a niece, sometimes small animals respond. Well, my wife is out there. My wife is out there. She won't let me go because she knows I'll be stomping just the way I am, just stomping. But last night we just heard like screaming. So I was like, what the F? So it was like 10 o'clock at night. I go out there. There's 2 raccoons, baby raccoons, because these are kitten cages, because they're very pressure sensitive. You know what I mean? Because a regular size trap won't work. These kittens are like little fluff balls. So we got small ones. So we were like, no raccoon's going to go in these. They don't, well, baby raccoons. Oh man. So I picked it up and raccoon was like, it scared the crap out of me.
Raccoons are nasty.
Yeah. So I wore gloves that I wear for work when I'm using blades. So these are blade proof gloves. And I'm thinking a raccoon won't be able to bite me in a blade proof glove. So, but even still, I got scared. So I dropped it down. My wife freaked out. So I opened it up with a stick, and this small raccoon, but still it was scared. And then the other raccoon in the cage, I picked it up, I put it down, I opened the cage, and it was just 2 different personalities in these two raccoons. One of them was aggressive, ran out through the cage, scared the crap out of my wife. And the other one, like, looked at me, came out, and it turned around and gave me a look like, thanks, buddy. And then, so people who don't think animals don't have different personalities are.
Oh, well, I have 2 cats. They have 2 completely different personalities.
Yes. Marcus, thank you for being a good Ed McMahon tonight while I was panicking and freaking out. Yes.
Well, I didn't think I was that exciting, but thank you.
Well, you were professional. That's all that matters. The Falco interview was great. Thank you so much. Did you see me smiling through the whole thing? I was rewatching it.
Oh yeah. That was great. He really, at first he was a little off, like, who am I talking to?
Right.
And then, because everybody does that, especially the older guys. And then he really got into it. He knew you read all his comics.
And he knew I liked him. He knew it wasn't a gotcha, because some of these guys think it's going to be a gotcha.
Right. No, he was good. He writes good comics. And he takes a lot of crap, but he writes good comics.
See, it's funny because I didn't want to mention I hated your run at first until I reread it. You know what I mean? But because I wanted to think
appreciated that.
But
it was hard. It was a bit of it's hard to read all those comics in the 90s. It just is. I mean,
I really liked it, and I like when he said that he doesn't think anything of it until it's like, okay, I got to write a comic book, and then he starts thinking. That is amazing.
He was the big cheese after Jim Shooter. He ran the whole thing, and needed him to be a calmer, nicer guy than the combative Shooter at the end. Shooter, and he ran it until they kicked him out. Until the 90s got kicked out. Bob Harris got a hold of him, and I don't think Bob Harris was good for Marvel, but he's the one who created. He found Rob Liefeld, and
Oh, really?
Well, Bob Liefeld, his first comic was for Marvel was New Mutants.
I do have a bunch of fan art, and I'm wondering if I'll put it in the letters page. Or, I'm still thinking. I'm holding out to see if I get letters. Tonic Bolt said he was going to write a letter, but he's a stoner and forgets what he said instantly. So who knows?
I'll have to write it. How long do you want the letter to be?
Couple.
I'll have to think of something. Maybe this weekend, tomorrow. I'll pretend.
I miss Kelsey too.
Nobody knows what Kelsey is.
Kelsey needs to regenerate in the swamp for a while.
I hope he's okay.
He's like you know in the Lord of the Rings with the faces in the water. He's just below the water. The beard is growing, becoming one with the bayou. Yeah. He's like that.
I hope everything's okay.
Yeah, and I know there's some
Because he's
family
not
issues.
on Graybeards, and they ask for him every week. And,
If you have a
I
dangling mouse
understand
toy,
what
you can wear the cat like a fishing pole. Yeah. This poor cat hasn't eaten all day. It's got to be starving, and kittens have tiny little bellies. So, and we put the traps away because at night we're only going to get raccoons again. So we're going to get up first morning. But the kitten seems to be active around 2 p.m. Aaron and Lopresti are on point. Absolutely. Hero Darkly Dark. How's your campaign going? How's your campaign going?
Oh, he has a campaign. That's right. What's it called again?
Hero Dark, is that Unrelentless bullied hero Darkly Dark? Nolan signed my Vengeance of Bane in the CGC sign. Cool. You got to get Chuck Dixon on. I had Chuck Dixon on twice, and he agreed. Him and Graham Nolan are going to come on, and I just got caught up in my campaign. I guess it's time to reach. Graham Nolan said it was too soon since his. So I'll ask if Graham and Chuck want to come on at the same time. That would be fun. You got to wait for it. My insurance has been excellent. They've been nothing but helpful. But the problem is that my job had to send them a form to prove that I work for them and how much I make. They did that instantly, and then I needed a doctor's note. They needed it in writing that I actually broke my neck, and I'm like, didn't you guys get the ambulance bill, the emergency room bill and stuff like that? So I had to wait till I went to the specialist. So I went to specialist on Friday. So I just submitted it on Tuesday because we had Monday off, and they said, okay, we'll expedite it. You should have your money on Thursday or Friday. Well, it's Friday. Where's my prayers for the cat in the campaign. Yeah, we got cat drama tonight. This is the kind of, I don't even want this drama. I want this poor kitten saved. My wife is upstairs crying. I'm just distracting myself. I don't want to think about it. I instantly fell in love with the cats. Last year around this time, we had 3 kittens on the steps from another cat that came. We're suckers because we have this one cat. I named it Smeagol. It's a beautiful cat. It came with the house. And that cat is our good luck charm because that cat got us the house. The woman who lived here took my wife aside and said, there's a cat here that's been coming here for years. And she opened up the front all closet. It was just filled. She goes, this is like a year's supply of cat food. Will you feed the cat? She was worried about my wife right away. There's a cat. Oh my God, where's so unbeknownst to me, they were waiting to see this cat. So my wife was like, We'll feed the cat. We'll definitely feed. I'm a cat person. They talked about cats. Then the same woman isolated me and goes, "Do you like Elvis?" I go, and so I all kidding. I just go, Elvis. I go, there's 2 types of people in this world: people who love Elvis and effing assholes. And she just started laughing. I go, I love Elvis. So she went right to the real estate agent, said, these guys are getting the house. That was the end. We got it cheaper than other people bid because her grandfather who lived in the house was Long Island's big Elvis fan. So if anybody lives in Long Island and on Elvis's birthday, Channel 12 went to a house and they showed all the Elvis paraphernalia. Now you know exactly where I live because that's my house. And if you go on Google and look at the picture of my house, it has Elvis paraphernalia all over the house. Doesn't have that anymore. So because I'm an Elvis fan and my wife said she's going to feed it. So we take care of the cat. The cat's our good luck charm. And then every once in a while, I'll play Elvis music for Peter. Hey, Peter, we like Elvis. So there you go. So we feed the cat. So every once in a while, other cats, I guess they smell the food. And so 3 different cats dropped off litters in our backyard because
Great. Do you really want that though?
Oh well, we trapped them all, got them fixed because they'd be leaving them in somebody else's yard and then they won't get fixed. You know what I mean? So we've been been trapping them and getting them fixed. Except one of them was the cutest little cat, a little gray cat. We named it Gandalf, and Gandalf died. We think somebody poisoned it.
I had a dog that was poisoned.
Your workers' comp is only for car accidents is disability. Yeah. John, top 2 places you go for pizza. Well, there's a pizza place in Jamaica, Queens that I go to just because it's by the train station. So it's just accessible. So I go there. I'd be lying if I said it's good pizza. Okay. It's called Cocoma, and it's all Dominicans and they make good pizza, man. It's really good. The guy laughs and jokes with me, teaches me dirty words in Spanish. But out where I live right now, I get pizza because it's close to me, but I'm not happy. I was like, this pizza's good. And then I went to my sister's house in Nassau and they got pizza. And me and my wife were like, oh my God, this is good. So we're still trying to find a pizzeria that we like.
Don't move down here. You won't be able to find one. Fortunately for me, my wife doesn't like pizza that much, so it's not like an option.
Me and my wife love pizza.
She doesn't like it. Even though she's full-blood Italian, she's not a big pizza person.
So I will honestly say Queens, the 5 boroughs, is better for pizza than Long Island. You can get good pizza.
There's a place in Westchester County, Mount Vernon, New York, Johnny's. Thin crust pizza. It's legendary. It's just crisp, and it's one of those places that yell at you.
Now I want pizza. Thanks a lot, David. Thanks a lot, Marcus. Now I want pizza.
Yeah, no, me too, and I can't get it. There's a decent pizza, but we just don't go out to get it that much.
No, all animals are controlled by one hyper intelligence that is determined to. There you go. There's your comic book plot. There you go.
Pizza's expensive.
Yes,
we go get a plain pizza. It's $25. I'm not spending $25 for pizza.
You know what? I get a pizza every Monday night for my game group, and it's like we get like a pie and a couple of slices, and with the tip, it's like $40. That's not cheap.
Yeah, I mean, and this is a place where I used to go every day to a pizza place because my best friend worked there. He made all the dough and everything, and he used to hang out, which is like nothing.
Every time I go to a pizzeria, I'm always like, can I go behind the counter and make my own pizza?
My friend worked in a pizzeria forever.
I miss it. Yeah, I'm a stereotype, and I'm Italian who can make. I could spin pizza in the air and everything.
Yeah, Trangucci. He's Italian. You think he's Italian? His name is Trangucci.
I don't know. There's nothing better. Now you got me talking about pizza. My mouth is watering. Thanks a lot, David. There's nothing better than going into a pizzeria and getting a pizza out of the oven on that metal tray and eating it at the pizzeria. Like it doesn't even touch that cardboard box. That is the best way to eat pizza.
And then there's the legendary Sal's Pizzeria in Mamaroneck, New York, where you get your Sicilian splice. This is in Westchester County. Mamaroneck is next to Larchmont. That's why I went to high school. And you go to Sal's for Sicilian pizza. But they don't. But it's New York, so every place had you at a pizzeria. You weren't getting a bad piece of pizza.
Right.
It was always good to a certain extent. Some were just better than others.
The only time I've ever had a bad pizza was in Atlanta.
Well, yeah.
I went. Where did I even go? I forget. I was visiting a friend, and we stopped in Atlanta. And I just whispered next to me, I go, "This pizza sucks." And the guy from behind the counter, he took that pizza peel, he jumped over it, and he started swinging at me. I was like, "What the fuck?" He's hitting you with a pizza. I had to grab it, and I smashed it. I was like, fighting with the guy, and I didn't. He just must have been like the last.
Well,
like, oh my God,
it's such a foodie spot now. Atlanta, I'm sure you could get a good piece of pizza somewhere. I'd have to ask my son. He used to live there.
I agree. Harris changed Marvel. They made money, but yeah, I forgot about Harris. I forgot Bob Harris. He didn't last too long, right?
He was there a little while, but it's all X-Men all the time. Like I'm worn out. Like we talk about Wolverine or John Byrne and stuff. I'm worn out of the X-Men.
Me too.
I don't like Harley Quinn, but that's like Jimmy Palmiotti's biggest thing. I'm like, don't tell Jimmy I don't like Harley Quinn.
I like Harley Quinn when she's, like she was in the animated series.
Yeah, but they don't like her like that when she was like an abused girlfriend. They like her as this goofy. He made Power Girl Jr.
Marcus, has Kelsey ever gone? Yeah, Kelsey disappears. He could disappear for like a year and then show up again.
Everybody wants Kelsey back, even the ones who fight with him. Nobody hates Kelsey.
Yeah, I think Mike Barron just got work from him, and I asked Mike Barron if he had any contact information, and he says just the same as you. So Dixon did the same bat. I can't even talk. Dixon did so much great bat books. Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm actually happy because I just re-inventoried my comics. I saw that I was missing a few Chuck Dixons, so I got a few Chuck Dixon and Graham Nolan Batman comics that I haven't read yet. So that's pretty cool. I have a soft spot for cats. There are a lot of strange. I love cats. I originally got a cat back in college. I grew up with dogs. I love dogs, but dogs were a lot of work. So I wanted a pet, so I got a cat. And I'm a sucker, so I ended up getting 3 cats. And the cats had completely different personalities. The girl cat was so feminine. When I was in college, if I brought home a date, the little girl cat would just stare at my date. And then my date would look at the cat would turn around like, it was such a jealous little cat. It was so cute. And she had like little perfect eyelashes. She was adorable. And then she was a little black cat, and she got run over on Halloween. Go figure. So that guy did it on purpose, if you ask me. Relentlessly bullied hero. Here you go, oddball. There you go. That's Doctor Dark. Eric Grove really got good, man, in his latest art on. Eric Grove got really good, man. His latest art on. Oh, okay. I didn't get what you were saying. B Train 7th Avenue Antonio's amazing. Oh, okay. John, have a pizza party, but you have to make it. It's funny that you said that because when I was a kid, across the street from me, there was an old timer, and they had a brick pizza oven in their backyard, and he stopped using it. But I always said I was always impressed by this big brick pizza oven. I always said I wanted to build one in my backyard. And, I haven't yet.
People do that.
I would like to do that, because you could go to a pizzeria and just buy a dough patty, so because I don't want to, but I'm thinking maybe I'll do it all from scratch, because I'm tearing up the side. We got all these ugly, weedy bushes. I took a chainsaw and cut them all down. So I'm thinking making like a vegetable garden over there, make tomatoes. I guess I'd have to get cows and make my own cheese. I was gonna say I'd make it all from scratch, but I'm not gonna make it. John, is that pizza shop 1 block up from the Long Island Railroad Jamaica Station, same side of the street as the station? Yes. So if you walk out of the station, you turn right on the corner. There's like a trashy like strip club kind of thing called I forget what it's called, but then right next to it, it's a pizzeria. It's good. It's good. I forgot that Logic's Finest like lives in Bayside. To open up what's hard to have affection. To open up, yes. Cat pets end badly. Pets will break your heart, kid. To paraphrase Jack Kirby. You're welcome. Thin crust, tasty sauce, slightly burnt cheese, Manhattan pizza is Matt. Okay, so here's the debate. Maybe it's clobbering time. Should we do a New York pizza versus Chicago style pizza? I like them both. What that's like saying, what do you like better, blondes or brunettes? It's like women are beautiful, man. Why do I have to pick? I knew Friends Pizza in V&V. Haven't done that nearly 40 years, but you still remember? Yeah. RRT. You're slightly far away in New Zealand, but you're welcome to come over here. And guys, if my comic gets to 100,000, I'm flying everybody, not everybody, but I'm flying people over here to play V&V, and we'll get pizza. So we're only 93,000 away. A few spots. Get that lemon pepper wings in Atlanta. That sounds good. I like lemon pepper chicken. He blew up Jim Lee, Liefeld, and the Image Guys, but the 90s had whack stories. What do you mean? He made them famous? Bob Harris? But the 90s stories were terrible. What year did Tom DeFalco leave as editor-in-chief?
I think 88 or 89. No.
Really?
I don't know how long. I'll look it up. It'll say.
I haven't liked the X-Men since 1999. They started going downhill at 85 and got worse. I don't remember what year it was, but I said this a million times. I quit the X-Men at 204. So whatever year that was. It was still during Claremont.
That was an interesting take that Gary had on that he felt Byrne really made Claremont. I never heard somebody. I think it's an interesting idea, but I'm not sure anybody really.
Well, when Byrne left, the X-Men started becoming whiners. He's not wrong. I never thought of it before.
Well, I never thought during the Cockrum, that second Cockrum, they really Rhiners. They just ripped off Alien. And then Cockrum wasn't quite the same as his first run.
Yeah, to me, Harley Quinn works best when she's pining after a serial killer who won't give her the time of day. She's not supposed to be empowering. She's not supposed to be positive. She's a serial killer's moll. That's what she is.
Right.
And that's what she's supposed to be. And that's henchman. She's an elevated henchman, you know.
But they made her a star. It's not just the movie. She was a big star before that. The lines at conventions because of Harley Quinn for Palmiani and Amanda Connor are or around the block.
Right, Zach says, then the pizza becomes the most expensive part of the 100K milestone. Well, I'm inviting people who don't eat a lot. Rini doesn't eat a lot, right? Renzo's skinny. Marcus, you can't come. You look like you could eat a lot of pizza.
I can eat a lot of pizza. I'm really big. I'm working on it. Thanks.
Believe me, if I make 100K on this comic, I'll give you as much pizza as you want. Yeah, I love the X-Men, but after John, yeah. Well, I would say I like the David Cockrum run as my hair gets crazy. I really like the Paul Smith.
Well, when Cockrum, Byrne, no, it would have never went monthly with Cockrum at first.
Right.
So it went monthly with Byrne, and they say Byrne sold it. It really didn't explode in sales till Paul Smith. It built up. And then all of a sudden it was an exploit. And then it was Cockrum again. Since he was familiar, it wasn't that a big deal. But Cockrum's art at that point, inked by Joe Rubinstein, was not the same as Byrne's. And then Paul Smith, it wasn't that long, and Paul Smith and John Romita Jr. And some people like that run with John Romita Jr. and some people don't. I mean, they've had some classic. The fight of Colossus and Juggernaut in the bar is a really good one.
Yeah. Saved Juggernaut's life. That fight saved Juggernaut, because remember that Selene or whatever was gonna eat his soul.
It's a Chris Claremont comic, so it's It's a lot of things going on. It's hard to pick up. You know, everybody was somebody's first comic. That's the Jim Shooter, Stan Lee thing. But you know, it's hard. He writes complicated comics. His plots are long. Claremont, you know, he didn't have a hit outside of X-Men. I mean, Sovereign 7 was not that good. You know, so I don't know. He was at home at Marvel, that's for sure. They pay him not to write now, which seems kind of silly. But they didn't get along by the end, so.
Who didn't get along?
Byrne and Claremont.
Oh, yeah.
Byrne thought that Claremont was writing against what he was drawing. That's probably true.
I always thought, didn't Claremont clash with Jim Shooter?
No, not really.
Okay.
I talked to Shooter about that, and they did clash because it was the death of Phoenix, so that was really important. They wanted Phoenix, and this is well known. But Shooter told us they wanted Phoenix to live, and she'd have like a lobotomy and be like an 7-year-old, you know, girl or something, and relearn. And Shooter's like, she killed the whole planet, a galaxy. She's got to be punished. She's evil. And he left it. What do you guys want to do? Now the final story, 137, was finished, and Claremont came into his office. That's it. We're just going to kill her. So that was Claremont's idea. It wasn't Jim Shooter's idea. He pushed him in that direction, but it wasn't Jim Shooter's idea. And then they did a double-page comic in like 2 weeks. Because John Byrne's like the fastest artist next to Jack Kirby.
That's what, to me, that's one of the best comics ever.
And it's one of the greatest comics ever. And it brought the best out of everybody.
And I'll say this every time. This is my hill to die on. They didn't need the Phoenix Force. When your superhero name is Phoenix, it's understood you're going to come back from the dead.
Yeah, they should have leaned into that way. That was Kurt Busiek's idea. That was nobody else's idea.
That was such a stupid
And John Byrne was so angry about it, he refused to draw the pages. And they had, in Fantastic Four, and they had Jackson Dice ape John Byrne for those Phoenix pages.
Oh, really?
They were desperate to bring out X Factor. That was a Bob Layton thing.
I didn't like X Factor at first. I thought it would, to me, it just showed you that we was just like when they brought back the young X-Men around 2015. To me, it's just like, you know, you don't need to start all over again. You just take.
Well, they wanted to have a comic with the original X-Men,
right?
So I get that part, but the idea of them pretending that they were mutant hunters hunting down mutants, Now it got good later,
Right.
you
It
know,
got
and it
good
got
later.
melded into the
Right.
X-Men
When they
fan
dropped that
group,
whole mutant hunting thing, it was
but right. It was very odd.
yeah. I like Cockrum, legendary guy and costume design. Yes, I loved Dave Cockrum's cover design.
He was a nice guy too.
Vernon Austin, to me, my favorite
So, see,
art team. And guys, he is real. Anybody wants to pop in?
Byrne doesn't even like, you know, he hasn't mixed with Austin much anymore. But he got so loose with his drawing. Excuse me.
What is this? Palmati said in his Mark Miller interview he had no interest in writing a character that was an abusive relationship with the Joker. Yeah, well, then don't use Harley Quinn. Then make up another character, because that's what Harley Quinn is. You know, for me, John Byrne left the X-Men. The stories were disappointing. Things changed. I didn't care for the direction. Was a slow downhill slide that got tonight, and I can't disagree with that. Like, to me, the X-Men were just like, we just want to be treated like everybody else, and then went and did stuff that, like, when Magneto was on trial, they break Magneto out. To me, that was the final straw. I was like, Magneto's going to trial for his crimes. The X-Men come in, take him away, and says he's not gonna be treated. Yeah, well, he's
in
getting
X-Men 150, he killed the whole Russian submarine.
right.
I mean,
George Perez, dope and fast. I agree.
well, Perez wasn't that fast.
Good stories tend to have a unified vision. We're good at You know,
Perez was slow. Perez was fast when he was first at Marvel. He wasn't doing all the detail when he was doing those Avengers and stuff. But then when he really got into noodling everything in at DC, he got slow.
You see, I bailed in '86. Wow, I thought it was later than that. Paul Smith, yeah, he was out by 210. Again, I bought other comics. I think I'm up to 400.
I read those. Yeah, it's okay.
But I'm curious to see.
Remember them.
You know, I don't have them memorized, and there's so many different X-Men titles. Like, when I actually get to X, when I'm scanning my comics to see where I'm missing or what I'm up to. Strowman, Crusada, Flash is the greatest, but not enough books.
That's X Factor, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, comics have their ups and downs. I mean, somebody interesting was always drawing the X-Men. They didn't get it sold so much. They always got top artists.
So we got two backers. And cool. Yeah. This was fixed. So Nick fixed this as we were talking. That's why I wasn't keeping that's why I wasn't showing it off. I didn't know if I was going to mess with it, but there we go. I just didn't want the other covers up there, then have to answer questions. I want that cover. Why is that cover up? You know.
You know what? I like that. You were reading the Fantastic Four. You know what gets a bad rap? The Fantastic Four between Jack Kirby and Stan Lee.
And, the Roy Thomas year,
and then the John Buscema. The John Byrne book. Going up to John Byrne between like 200 plus, it was a little off. It wasn't that bad. I mean, Roy Thomas and John Buscema, Rich Buckler, I know they weren't mining new ideas, but it was pretty good comics.
So John Byrne, people forget that John Byrne did a run before that, and I showed a bit of that, the Galactus versus the Sphinx. I love that comic.
Yeah,
and I think John Byrne left somewhere around 218 or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
And then 236 is when John Byrne
came back, right,
as the man, writing droid. But yes, there was some weird stuff, but there was some good stuff.
I mean,
like the Vikings under the ice, the being that bled the energy ribbons, the Futurian, the guy whose brain got really big and evolved people. There was some good stuff.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah. They tried so hard before that to keep like that Kirby flavor. First, they had John Buscema do it for all those years, and then Rich Buckler did it, and he drew it like Kirby. Now, it was Kirby swipes, and people criticize him for it, but it was the Fantastic Four, you know. So to me, it all works. I like looking back at all that stuff. I thought it was fun when I was a kid, And then, Keith Poehler did a nice job, and maybe he says, "Oh, it was not that good." Oh, yeah, it wasn't Kirby and Lee, but it was good. It was pretty good comic. I mean,
I love the Keith Pollard Thors. Oh my God, those are so good.
he's really good. He's way underrated,
Yes, absolutely.
and he did a nice run on Spider-Man too. That's about when I was, that's when I was a kid. I was buying comics in the 70s, 74, 75, 76, 77. I mean, I
Okay.
just kept buying them.
Okay, we're doing it's time for spoilers.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I just got sent a picture, and it's time for spoilers. Okay, how's that? These are
Wow, that
characters.
looks good.
These are characters that Oscar and Oscar Crano and myself are working on for Eddie is Doomed. So these aren't final, but these are some of the characters. This woman in the yellow and red, that's the Golden Age Bikini Girl.
Hmm.
And then the Silver Age Bikini Girl. Oscar put in that the third one doesn't exist. Actually, the first one in the red and yellow, that's the Golden Age Bikini Girl. The fourth is the Silver Age Bikini Girl. The other two were concepts that no. And then the Doom Keeper, Big Brother, that's Eddie over there. And then on the bottom, all the way to the left, that's Caesar. He's the Czar of the Sea. And then the Alienator and the Tombstone Kid.
I like that. That's funny.
Yeah. So those are comic book characters from comic books in the world of heroic.
Great job, Oscar.
So the Patriarch's kids will read about
That's
them.
really fun.
And let's see. You should do a Barry Windsor Smith weapon book look. That would be good. That would be good. I'm not going nuts with the Barrett covers next title.
Yeah.
Hello, Justin.
Hey.
Hey, Justin.
How you doing? You got a
Come
camera?
on, Marcus. No, not right now.
Oh, all right. Logic Finest says, I never liked the change to Archangel. I always kept my mouth quiet, but I didn't like it either. Never liked how they handled Colossus's little sister and the demon who tormented. Yeah, Belasco. Hate Gambit. I never liked Gambit. Jubilee. I don't mind Jubilee. She's supposed to
like Gambit.
And Emma Frost to the X-Men is heresy.
I don't mind Gambit. Gambit didn't bother me that much.
Emma Frost is the Ghislaine Maxwell of the X world. She shouldn't be in the X-Men. Yes, Oscar. Oscar literally just sent that picture and it was on the screen. Yeah.
And Walt Simonson and Louis Simonson said they had to take the old X-Men and up their powers because they were really the original X-Men powers were really fall behind.
Right. So
they up Iceman, and then what problems came with the upping the powers? It wasn't just they had the powers, like they made Beast super strong, but the more stronger he got, the dumber he got. Until he almost couldn't think. Like there was an action and reaction to their ideas. So changing him to the Archangel was the way to power him up. At that point in Marvel, the guy with wings flying, big deal, So that's the reason why they did that stuff.
Emma Frost and Mystique should never be anywhere near the X-Men. Yeah, just because they're mutants doesn't mean they're X-Men. They're bad guys. They're murderers. They're killers.
But that's a Chris Claremont trope to change from evil to good.
Yeah. So what's up, Justin? How you doing?
I'm not defending it. I'm just thinking why they do it.
I'm doing good. How's your neck?
Good. I got to wear this for another month. They don't want to do surgery because it's too risky. So just hoping everything heals.
So
what are you up to, Justin?
I was just running around. Just made dinner. I don't know. Just a quiet day in Denver.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, you're in Denver. Okay.
I've never been to Denver.
Cool. Reminds me of V&V Marvel. Oh, you're talking about Oscar's characters? Yeah. So in that comic, for the characters that Oscar just drew and that I just showed, they are Top Comics. Top Comics is the name of the comic book that people in the heroic tales. So the patriarch's kids read Top Comics, but Eddie is an adult who collects Top Comics, and Top Comics is about to have their crisis on Infinite Earths, and Eddie can't deal with the fact that his childhood is being destroyed. So Eddie is doomed.
Did you ever collect Topps comics?
Tops, yeah, I got to Tops.
Yeah, I remember those.
Little Zombie in the Eyeball caught my eye, as well as the lady. Yeah, I gotta say, everybody loves Oscar's drawings. Everybody loves Angel versus Hawkman for clobbering time. There you go. That's an interesting one. Next week, Justin, on clobbering time, we're doing Q versus the Beyonder.
Beyonder.
Emma Frost was the right hand to Sebastian Shaw, character I absolutely love. He always 10 steps ahead, but Emma Frost and Mystique were both pure evil. Yeah, Sebastian Shaw was a bad guy too. The Hellfire Club was not, read between the lines. What were they doing in the Hellfire Club? You know, if you want to have a character go from evil to good, they should narratively earn it. Yeah. I don't know. Plus, there's something wrong with Scott Summers. His like, if I was to write the X-Men, Scott Summers would be like, listen, your mentor, when you were a kid, your mentor was a telepath. Then you fall in love with the telepath. Then your next girlfriend is also a telepath. There's something like I would like he's so like he's so afraid of letting go and getting emotional because of his Cyclops powers, you know, his eye beams that he can't control, that the only way that he can get close to anybody is if they could literally get inside of his brain and understand the way he's thinking, because he's so afraid of his emotions because he'll lose his powers. There you go. And we got all the way from Hobbiton. How you doing, RRTND?
Oh, Shemai, Tinian. Oh, wait, is this in English? Oh, sorry, John.
He's
Sorry.
testing his spell.
How are you?
I'm okay. How
You
are
right?
doing? Yeah, no
I'm
complaints.
good, thanks. I can only drop in for a few moments.
Okay.
I just thought I'd congratulate you on your campaign. I think I put in a couple of bucks on the Kickstarter, but I thought I'd congratulate you on your campaign today and wish you all well, and contribute a little bit to the X-Men debate, if that's possible.
I got all of my V&V modules out, so for the next time we do
Ooh.
talk about that.
Oh, brilliant! Have you got Dawn of the DNA in there?
I got everything by Villains and Vigilantes, except for like stuff except for stuff that just came out, because I don't want Jeff D to get any money because he's a giant jerk.
Yeah, no, you told me. You told me he was a complete arsehole to you. So yeah, no need to give him any money. No, I just listened to your X-Men and it's great, Marcus. You mentioned issue 150. That is it's the first comic I bought in 1981.
Is it really?
It's my all-time favorite X-Men issue. Double-sized. Still got it somewhere. I was looking for it. I was panicking. Oh, I've got to get it out. Yeah, X-Men sink. I can't remember what's the name of the submarine? Is it it's a something grad, either Stalingrad or Leningrad, and he sinks
like
it.
that. Yeah,
he sinks it.
Yeah, and he's got the device that creates volcanoes.
right.
And he destroys a Russian city, but he lets everyone evacuate first. And the X-Men have to beat him. It's a brilliant issue because they beat him without using their powers. It's not till the end they get their powers back, and then they have a big fight. Great, that's Cockrum, isn't it? Doing at least the pencils, yeah.
That was Cockrum.
But it's Cockrum. Is someone else? Is someone else doing the inks though?
Joe
Who's doing the
Rubinstein
inks?
Got one, I think.
Joe Rubinstein.
Yeah, it's such a good issue, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a really good issue. It's probably one of Cockrum's strongest issues.
That's. I'm trying to think. What was the cover of 150?
Has X-Men Magneto on one side with the force field, and Cyclops and I think it's a Nightcrawler Colossus on the other side. They're facing each other.
Right.
And Storm is holding Kitty Pryde, because at the end of the issue, the only way Magneto is ultimately defeated is he thinks he's killed Kitty, right? And when he realized that, he stops and he realized what a monster he's become, and he surrenders, and then he leaves. But I think that was the next time he shows up is actually God Loves Man Kills, which to me is bar none the greatest single X-Men issue or one-shot story ever.
That's the graphic novel, right?
Yeah, God Loves Man Kills.
Yeah.
I don't think if you ever tell someone says, "What are the X-Men about?" and you say, "Right, read this."
Yeah, I got Godman Man Kills. Neil Adams was supposed to do it. He did like 7 pages of it, and he was so slow they pulled it from him and they gave it to Brent Anderson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've got that. I've got that copy I've got that copy which has the penciled pages at the back that Adams drew. It's brilliant. They're a bit different though. The story's a bit different.
Yeah.
But the God Loves Man Kills is a turning point in the relationship between Magneto and the X-Men because he comes to their rescue, and it's the first time they're really allies.
Yeah, that's what they ended up changing that. Yeah. And it says here on comics.org, because people think I remember everything, and I really don't. I just double check it. That it was Dave Cockrum, Joe Rubenstein, and Bob Wyacek. Did
Okay.
it, and they finished the art where Cockrum did the layouts. Because Cockrum wasn't a very fast artist.
My favorite.
It looked like Cockrum to me.
I think my favorite X-Men is that when Cyclops and that like short-term blonde girlfriend of his, they meet despair in the Man Thing.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a Brent Anderson.
Ah,
Yeah, I don't know. I just like that, and then they get stuck on Relay, the Cthulhu Island.
Yeah, that's a Brent Anderson book too.
yeah.
When he was out in
my X-Men 200 is the comic that got me to stop reading the X-Men. I just X-Men like we want to be treated like everybody else, and then Magneto goes on trial and they rescue him from the trial and then harbor him, and then he ends up being a jerk. They do the same thing. Sabretooth, they harbor Sabretooth. Sabretooth's a serial killer. We just want to be treated like everybody else, except when we go on trial. Except when you're a serial killer. I was like, the X-Men deserve all the persecution they get. Why do people love the Fantastic Four, not the X-Men? Because the Fantastic Four, when Johnny Storm burnt up the college, he went to trial and made restitution.
I tell you something, John, because I have a friend, J-Man, who you've got to stream with sometime. I think you two. He was friends with Mike Alonso. Did you come across Mike Alonso at all?
No, I'm just saluting because Daniel Quigley
right.
sent me andouille sausage from Louisiana.
But it occurred to me today that the
Sausage,
nature of the Fantastic Four are almost a perfect superhero group because the nature of their powers allows offense and defense, but it means none of them have to rely on plot armor. None of the Fantastic Four are reliant on plot armor to survive.
Right, that's what Sue Storm is the plot armor. She's the force field, protects the ball. Ben Grimm could take a punch. If you play villains and vigilantes, stretching powers is an awesome defense. It's one of the best against anything physical. You can't punch a stretchy guy. You can't even shoot a stretchy. The only thing is I house rule it so that you could stab a stretchy guy. So
yeah.
But
one of my huge problems. Oh, sorry, Marcus.
Oh, I was just gonna say, can we play with John's fastest rules? This is.
I was gonna say though, right? Because the Fantastic Four don't have to rely on plot armor, right? It allows the stories to make more sense. Whereas X-Men have, to the nature of their powers and the nature of their adventures, when Storm lost her powers, the only thing keeping her alive was plot armor. That's all it could be. She should have died every single issue.
Yeah.
In the Mutant Massacre, the Mutant Massacre really turned me off X-Men, right? But one of them's spinning around Riptide, throwing shuriken everywhere. A bunch of them are embedded in Colossus. Nightcrawler teleports, Kitty phases, Rogue's invulnerable. Why is Storm still alive?
I also say this: I don't like that Rogue has the powers of Miss Marvel.
No,
that to me that ruined because now she's known as the invulnerable, super strong flying girl, and once in a while she could take your power.
We never saw her before. I don't know.
No,
because we never saw her before she had the powers of Ms. Marvel.
No,
that was her
not before the
powers of Ms. Marvel.
Yeah,
is it not the annual? Yeah,
annual Avengers
it's a
annual
double
10.
sized 10 of the Avengers, eh? Because
Right,
Claremont wrote that one.
right.
But she was a different character. She was a pretty evil character,
She
and you
was.
thought she was like older, like in her
Yeah.
20s, 30 or something. All of a sudden, then Claremont de-ages her,
Mm.
makes her more of a femme fatale, and then giving her the powers. Was she going to be a one-off, mutant? Stealing the powers, and that leaves Claremont. They'd be able to do an angsty Carol Danvers, and yell at the Avengers at the end because they didn't do enough at
I
Avengers 200. So,
So I
Mm.
could see
that's a
Carol
Claremont
Danvers lost her
trope.
powers, but I don't know. Rogue, she should have just been the person who steals powers. That to me,
But then
it's just like
she wouldn't.
I-
Temporarily.
yeah, I have the power. Just think of it this way. Okay, I have all the powers of the Flash, and I could steal other people's powers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
No.
yeah.
Go ahead, Marcus.
Well, they wanted somebody to fly around and have powers and be able to beat up the Avengers. And then they were going to make, Carol Danvers a tragic figure by getting her mind and her powers. It wasn't based on Rogue. How Rogue ended up to be this character that's around all the time. Was she supposed to be around all the time?
No,
Which is
I don't-
why she's confusing. I doubt it. I
And
doubt it.
also, and then she dressed. Given the nature of her powers, she dressed inappropriate. She's always in bikinis, stuff like that. Dude, flesh to flesh contact, you could kill
Well,
people.
Silvestri
If my
put her
power
in.
was death touch, I'd be wearing a
Silvestri-
burqa.
Silvestri put her in long sleeves
Right.
and gloves and everything. And the artists sometimes did that, but then the writers took her back out. Like, I don't know, the love for some of the characters. People really loved like Gambit and Rogue and did that whole thing. And I'm like, it's okay.
I will say this, that there's an issue in here in the omnibus where they fight Nimrod and she absorbs the other X-Men's powers temporarily, right? And that was cool. That was well done. But yeah, I totally agree. Temporary absorption of powers, right? So she's basically Parasite. What was I going to say? Oh, but what you were saying about how when Byrne left, Claremont's writing diminished in quality, I think you're spot on, because the themes of the book and the way female characters were written in particular to be less sympathetic and more sort of what we call girl bosses today became a really strong running theme in late 80s X-Men. And it didn't do the stories any favors, as far as I'm concerned.
That's a good point. Like, if you go back there and they talk about SJWs and girl bosses, it was being done way earlier. It just wasn't a trope yet.
Right.
And he did it all the time. He wrote novels with women protagonists. He became the woman writer.
The Invisible Woman was like the most powerful member of the Fantastic Four with Byrne. Like they both did it, but
Byrne wasn't as obvious as Byrne's trope was the older man and the younger girl, which is a little creepy.
That was all Marvel though. I mean,
yeah, but Byrne particularly by that time, Byrne particularly.
Then you have Amazo, the ultimate MacGuffin device. Yeah, I always like how do you defeat Amazo? Justin, you still there?
Yeah, I'm staring at your new cover. I haven't seen this one.
Yeah, this is Mike Gustovich cover. Mike Gustovich, he did the
yeah, that's something else.
He did the Justice Machine. I love this cover.
I like the colors.
Yeah, Daniel De La Silva Rodriguez does a great job coloring. Yeah, he was like, "What do you want it to be set at night?" Like, no, put like sunset with the sun behind him.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, yes, that's true. With bird tropes, yeah, I don't know. With the X-Men up until like Bird left, they were adventure team. They go to the Savage Land, they fight dinosaurs. Even afterwards, they go to space and they're fighting the show with lightsabers and space whales. And, okay, and then there's a mutant story, but then the aliens attack Kitty Pryde, and then Cyclops fights Despair and the Man Thing. And then after like 210, it's mutants. Woe is us. Like, I don't know. It just got to be unbearably whiny to the point that they never recovered.
Do you know what they had, John? Reading those Claremont Byrne issues, what Claremont and Byrne did was really made them a family, right? in those issues, there's a really strong family dynamic. With
Right.
I mean, you were talking about Jean Grey's death and resurrection. I think that's the absolute worst thing Marvel's ever done. Should have left Jean Grey to rest. But yeah, like that, there's a very strong family dynamic in the X-Men all through the Byrne Claremont era and a little bit forward. But once you get to about 200, that starts to fade away. They're less of a family and more sort of an angsty group of antisocial renegades, you know, and that just didn't, as you say, mutants, and it just didn't work.
Yeah. You know what? I kind
But
of
they sold
disagree with you,
more
but
and more.
now I am agreeing with you. Callisto was very unlikable, and I hated Storm in the Mohawk story.
I didn't like the Storm Mohawk thing either.
Oh.
I didn't like, and there's no way that Storm beats Cyclops in a fight.
No. Oh no! I was arguing with someone about on Facebook today about that. Yeah. The only reason she wins is because he refuses to kill or seriously injure her. Right?
Well, wow. Maybe he should have seriously injured her. She was
maybe he should have.
I mean, think about that.
Oh,
there was no reason for somebody who thought she was a goddess with these tremendous weather powers, really a powerful character, be able to fight. Why is she able to do all this jujitsu?
No.
Well,
Cyclops. Cyclops was a black belt in judo, right?
I mean, but that was established that he could fight from the beginning.
Absolutely.
There's no way. Real powerful characters aren't always the best. You know that she's a faraway character. She's like shooting lightning bolts from the sky. She's not necessarily hand to hand. All of a sudden, she's able to hand to hand combat with Cyclops because now she's a punk.
I know.
It was interesting for, like, you know what it is. It's
she never showed any of that.
But she's got to go back, and she never went back.
It was the '80s. That's why she was a punk.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Because of the culture.
And I still believe that Madeline Pryor was just supposed to be a human, and Scott was supposed to go off into the sunset until they came up with X Factor, and then they needed, and then they were like every step was a misstep. Okay, we're gonna make X Factor. Oh, Scott's married. Okay, he's gonna leave his wife. Oh, now Scott looks bad. You know, so
no,
okay,
I think
how can we absolve Scott and not be a deadbeat dad? Okay, she was the Goblin. I don't know.
I think
it's terrible.
I think they've actually said that, John. I don't think that's a theory. I think that's the truth.
Oh yeah,
it's garbage. Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, but the kids love it. Like, other people younger than us love the Mutant Massacre. They love those crossovers. It was selling
not me.
Busters.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
The Silvestri run. Yeah, when Silvestri did storytelling, we could follow it in X-Men, not like his image stuff that you couldn't read. I just grit my teeth. It's like some of the, I'm not going to say the campaigns. This is like a 90s comic. Don't you love this? And the guy pushing is really great. I'm like, 90s comics is not a feature, guys.
Yeah.
But I'm old. I'm really old. So, like, I grit my teeth. And sometimes when they start talking about, like, I watch the Kings or the Professionals or something, and you know who's on. And I watch like maybe Dan Frank I have a friend of mine, like, at this point, but he starts going on about Image. Those are all his buddies. And then you start looking at some of the older creators and they're just like, what am I going to say about this? They can't say anything. You know, they didn't like Liefeld or Lee. It got them out of comics. It literally got these guys out of comics, or they had to change the way they draw comics to stay in comics.
Yes.
I know that because I got out of school at that time, and that was just when the whole style changed, and I was lost. I mean, I had to get a job, you know. I blame them for that. Blame Todd McFarlane.
I thought the X Factor was poorly conceived. All right, so you wanted to have the original X-Men back. What they should have had was, like, I don't know, like a original X-Men villain back, like somebody stupid, like the Vanisher or something like that, and like a clue that oh we got to get Bobby, we got to get this, and you know what I mean. And then Jean Grey, she resurrects herself. She's the Phoenix. But they just we're gonna
No,
we're mutant hunters. We're gonna hunt mutants and scare mutants, but we just want to be treated like everybody else. Like they're just so stupid. You know, it wasn't until
Nonsense,
later on
right?
they just became like another team. But
I like the new. Yeah, no, I like the New Mutants. Fine, I collected that book. I never thought it was a really poor selling book. It was Marvel's worst selling book when Rob Liefeld took it over. I don't think so. It was still an X-Men book. It was the worst selling X-Men book. He could have taken over US1 or something. I mean,
What's weird is New Mutants '87 was the first book I ever bought, my first comic.
no, a lot of people, and now he's just put down all your comics, and now I feel bad. Sorry. No, I understand. I taught kids at that time, drawing, and that's the comics they loved. It just the way it was. It was so cool.
And the New Mutants, if I remember correctly, they weren't wallowing in mutants. They were fighting demons and going to like ancient Roman civilizations. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
That's
like,
right.
I hated it. I'm also.
I got a hot.
People are going to get mad at me now. I never liked Age of
Go on.
Apocalypse. I hate alternate.
I like
worlds.
the Age of Apocalypse actually, but like I'm looking
Very-
at it artistically, not always through whether the story made sense. So it's a different perspective.
I don't like crossovers that are clear. Like the Mutant Massacre was the big commercial crossover. Secret Wars 2, Mutant Massacre, Age of Apocalypse, very commercially driven. The crossover, not driven by the narrative, driven by the bucks.
The
So
problem
that to me, nah.
The problem was a crossover. It proved to be really popular. They decided to have a crossover every year. So
Right.
then and then the ideas can't be as good because that's a fast turnaround for all these crossovers. As soon as you get started on your comic, now you got a crossover. John, the third issue, you're gonna have a huge crossover.
Yeah.
And now you got to rewrite your whole book. I mean,
Right.
it just got to be too much. It's good every once in a while, but it got to be too much.
Oh, that's a good comic. Good comment there by Logic's finest.
Yeah, he's got
Sebastian
good
Shaw.
Yeah,
Sebastian Shaw.
I liked his power. I always thought it was so cool. To the point where that was when you played Villains Vigilantes, that was absorption of kinetics. That was the power that every player wanted. And when we first, you get that power, it was unbeatable. So I had to come up with like logical limits to it. Otherwise, these characters would be so powerful. Like this doesn't make sense to you guys, but for every damage that you absorbed, it cost a movement point. So
did you already talk about his powers? Did you already talk about the Patriarch's powers? Patriarch?
Yeah, it's the worst kept secret what his powers are. He's telekinetic. Yeah, it says it on the. Why? What's
and
up?
He flies. Besides
Yeah,
that,
well, he uses his telekinesis to propel himself.
Well, that was Byrne. Byrne had the same idea with Superman, didn't he? He had a similar idea. That's
Because he trading card, and then that's his powers.
Well, that was from Byrne's work on Fantastic Four and Gladiator, right? I reckon that's where he came up with that idea.
Yeah, he didn't have to explain those superpowers that much. Gladiator could. Superman's just Superman. He didn't have to worry that. He didn't have to make it make sense.
Yeah.
I liked his Superman. We were gripping on it before, but I really enjoyed it. I could see
why the old timers didn't like it, but I liked it.
Yeah, because he made all the changes to the Kurt Swan stuff, but that was the old stuff. I mean, whether
there were some highs and lows.
His choice to kick Kurt Swan off.
Yeah, there were some highs and lows though, Marcus. Like the shooting a porno with Big Barda issue probably wasn't.
Best one. I want a copy of that.
I don't know if that's really where Superman should be going.
No,
that's
a
Byrne trope. Every one of his comics has some weird sexual thing that happens that you can't really make heads or tails of. I read both of his novels, by the way, and one of them is really strange that way.
Yeah.
What did you think of Superman executing the alternate world's Kryptonian villains?
Not a good idea either.
That was controversial, I remember.
But they did worse to Superman later. I think they gave him a mullet. Byrne didn't give him a mullet. And
That's true.
all his ideas they ran with for years afterwards. Like he did 3 years on Superman, but he did all 3 comics eventually.
Right.
Well, he did like 6 years worth of comics. But all the direction that they put him in, they ran with it for years and years until Lois got married. I mean, I think those are all Byrne's ideas. Basically.
I'm sure you're right.
He brought back.
Did you
Mom and
like?
Pop, right?
Did you like Byrne's take on the Origin, the Man of Steel limited series?
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, I wasn't a dyed-in-the-wool Superman fan, so that was the first time, other than getting Superman every once in a while. I wasn't a DC guy till about 1985. When
John,
I was
you're
younger,
a
any comic, but
John, you're a big Superman fan. So am I. What do you think of Man of Steel by John Byrne, the retake on the Origin?
I liked it. That to me was the beginning of my Superman collection. Before that,
right,
I just got a Superman comic every once in a while, and before that was really like goofy Silver Age DC that I wasn't really a fan of. Man of Steel made Superman a Marvel comic.
That's right,
and I liked it.
That
that's right. That's I agree.
well
with
said. That's a really good way of putting it.
Yeah,
Like
it
in
gave
the
him a
70s.
Marvel weakness. It was radiation instead of this magic rock.
If-
And then and I really liked that Lex Luthor got his finger amputated from the kryptonite. Like it showed you that this was a dangerous mineral for everybody. I really, really liked it. I liked that they brought his power level down. There's a lot of things that they did with the jump. I like that they brought Mom Pa Kent back. They never, and then they went nuts explaining who Superboy was. Like
they should have just left Superboy alone. I think that was a mistake.
With DC did the Crisis half-assed, if you ask me. They should have canceled all their comics and then started all their comics with #1, and that was that. This is a bookend. This is the new story. So if they're starting with Superman, they don't need to explain Superboy. And then the Legion of Superheroes, they could start all over again. But then don't tell the Great Darkness story over. They already did it. Make new stories. That's what they should.
That was my next question.
They did
that was my next question.
They threw out
Crisis, yes. Crisis, no. Crisis, maybe.
I like Crisis as a story. I like Crisis.
I
did it do what it was supposed to do? Yes, everybody was able to join the DC universe without issue, And then 10 years later, 15 years later, everybody got nostalgic for Earth 2 and Earth S and Earth Z, and they tried to bring it all back, confusing the whole thing. But it did what it was supposed to do. But what they did was Superman and Wonder Woman were rebooted later by Perez and Byrne, and they were kind of delayed, and that didn't make any sense,
I think the Crisis did what it was supposed to do it boosted sales. It failed utterly in making DC more streamlined.
Well, no, right away, the next 5 years it was more streamlined, but as the writers decide to explain what happened to everything.
Well,
did you get that book, The Legends of DC by Perez?
Yeah,
that whole timeline. That's all they had to do.
But look at comics like the All-Star Squadron and
they screwed the All-Star Squadron.
These comics got destroyed. Donna Troy got destroyed.
Well, they should have let them be destroyed and ignore those characters then. If they don't like them, they don't have to sit there. We don't need Donna Troy. Nobody needed Donna Troy. She was a construct anyway.
Right. So
she's a construct
too. They should have all sat down and said, we're rebooting it all. Starting
they left
right.
So
they left Barry out.
This is the first time Superman shows up. This is the first time Batman shows up.
They've been rebooting
everything else.
They've been rebooting DC since.
Yeah, they left Barry Allen dead though, which I really liked. For at least 25 years, they left Barry Allen to rest, which I thought was great.
Well, they screwed up Hal Jordan really badly.
And then what?
Yeah, well, that was Ron Martz though. That was Ron Martz.
I don't know. I didn't read a lot of Kyle Rayner. I have nothing against him.
Don't bother.
I couldn't buy all those books.
Too many human Green Lanterns. It dilutes the Green Lantern. It's no different than.
Well, if they don't get rid of the old ones,
right?
Okay, we want to get rid of Hal Jordan. Well, he has to die a heroic death. But they can't make Hal Jordan the most heroic of all the DC. She's supposed to be Chuck Yeager. He's an American hero, a test pilot. They can't make him a drunk driver. I mean, for God's sake.
I don't
That's
know.
just how
I
would
tell
they
you this:
think?
if the patriarch dies, there's nobody else is putting on a suit and calling himself the patriarch. The
Well, it's why
patriarch
we'll put
is
you
him.
call the patriarch.
Jim Kelly is the patriarch. You know what I mean?
Ms. Patriarch.
If he dies, that's, you know what I mean? Like in my superhero role playing games, we played with the ideas of like other people purchasing other people's personas. Like if you wore a full suit, you know, this
Trademark.
So a guy, he's like, I want to, but then the public was just like, he's not the same. You know, like the players, like it was an NPC. One of the heroes got injured, and somebody else was like, I'll buy it off you. I want to be like, he was basically buying your gravitas, but everybody knew he wasn't as good. You know, he did things, he wasn't as smart. And he ended up pretty much getting himself killed. So that was my way of saying you can't just put on a Spider-Man costume and be Spider-Man. You know,
So,
You should tell Anthony Mackie that.
yeah, I know.
so his wife isn't going to become the matriarch?
He's going to transition and become the matriarch. I just got Mike Barron's to run on the Flash. Yeah,
I like the one. Jackson Geis.
Nope.
Okay,
I got
Yeah,
this. Yeah,
Mark
patriarch.
Wade. Mark Wade did quite a good run on the Flash.
Yeah, I have to read
He
that.
did.
Like, I don't remember
He
when I
really did.
stopped buying. Well,
Mark
when we
Wade
had
did a
kids,
great,
I stopped
especially
buying
the
comics.
Rogues galleries.
Yeah,
But I
but
don't remember when
the
I
return
stopped.
of Barry Allen series that took place over a year, that's a fantastic story. It's probably the best Wally West story, I think.
I think
Well,
the Speed
DC
Force
had
was a
to kill.
mistake.
Killing Barry Allen, I mean, what they did to him, the trial of the Flash that lasted like 100 years, Marv Wolfman, that wasn't his best. And with terrible, washed Carmine Infantino. That was, I read a few of those. That I worked at the comic store. Those were really rough. I mean, the whole thing, I was rereading some of those early Flashes. And it's just Don Heck drew a panel this big with the Reverse Flash killing Flash's wife. You know, it's not a big panel. It's just one little panel of 10 pages. His fingers go through her head and she's dead. And it's the biggest thing ever happened to the Flash. And then it was their way of trying to Marvelize their characters. DC never knew how to Marvelize the Flash and Green Lantern and the Atom and Hawkman. John Byrne knew how to do it, but nobody else knew how to do it. And they got themselves in trouble.
Can I throw the flip side at you? The flip side of that is that Marvel doesn't know how to do power creep properly because DC's had super powerful characters all along. It's grown accustomed to handling them. So Superman being, almost unbeatable, sneezing and moving planets, DC handles that well. But the Omega level mutants and other Marvel characters of today that are far too overpowered to be interesting, Marvel's really failed that, whereas DC understands how to handle power creep. So that's DC's, what it's got over Marvel. But as you say, what Marvel's got over DC is the relatability issue. Would that be fair to say? What do you think?
I think that's fair to say, yeah. I mean, they were always, like, if you go back, like my collection of trying covers and different artists made me read all these comics online. And Hal Jordan's a truck driver, he's a toy salesman. They're always trying to make everybody Peter Parker instead of just letting them be Green Lantern. Jeff Johns letting them be Green Lantern, have these awesome adventures with crazy other Green Lanterns, which they should have always done. The Flash, he's got a new girlfriend 6 months after his wife died. And then they decided then they get framed for murder. I mean, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I remember that.
When was this? When was that?
I remember that happening, but I don't know what comic it is.
Oh, good question.
What were we thinking about Invincible? Even though they were evil, the Viltrumites were better Kryptonians. All the powers except for the heat vision, no weaknesses left. Yeah. One of the things I really liked about the Viltrumites is if you don't kill them, they're going to heal. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have regeneration, but they can heal. Like, if like what's his name? Why can't I? What,
Conquest.
yeah, but what's Invincible's real name? His
Mark, isn't it?
Mark Grayson. Mark. He got
Yeah.
beat so bad, he just laid there and eventually healed. Over time, over months. When I really like that.
That Invincible's a rough comic. That's a little violent for me.
Invincible, I
Yeah.
really liked. I like that he ended it on his own. He could have put out another 30 issues. To me, it was like Peter Parker as Superman.
Yeah, that's good analogy.
And
Yeah.
I the first couple of issues, I was like, this is all right. And then issue 7 was the twist. I was like, oh, okay, I'm getting this every month. I really like that the Viltrumites' special ability is they could breed with anything, and it came out as that little bug kid, but eventually they turn into Viltrumites. So that's like a way to take over a world. I thought I like that. I'm an unabashed Robert Kirkman fan. I like Walking Dead so much better than the TV show. I liked Wolfman. Did anybody read Wolfman?
No.
Sorry.
No.
So Wolfman is a guy gets bit by a wolf. He becomes a werewolf, and he doesn't want to get hunted, so he pretends he's a superhero. So if it's not
Nice.
if it's not the 3 nights of the full moon, he could control himself. So he goes out and he calls himself the Astonishing Wolfman, and he fights crime. But the 3 nights of the full moon, he locks himself away. So he has typical. And then he meets a mentor who's training him, and the guy's like, "How do you know so much about werewolves? You must be a werewolf too." The guy goes, "Nope," and he's a vampire. So he has it was just a fun take on monsters becoming superheroes. I just read Die, Die, Die. It was 4 assassins that Mark, John, Paul, George, and Ringo. Their father trained them to become the best assassins in the world, and nobody likes John. He's a jerk, but they're all twins. So John's going after this guy's girlfriend. It was pretty good. The only thing that Mark, what's his name, Robert Kirkman, that I just don't like is Battle Pope. Battle Pope is like, look at me, I'm edgy. Christians are bad, and I'm not even particularly religious. And I just thought it was like this is just like something that a sophomore college guy writes as edgy. It just wasn't that good. I tried to.
Do you want to see some? Do you want to see something edgy? I brought something edgy.
Sure, let's see.
I got to go soon. My phone's about to die, but I've got something super edgy here.
Comics ever made. Yeah, I love that.
This is issue 15
of
Miracle Man.
I got Miracle Man.
Yeah,
I had this since it's 1987, I think. Yeah, this is my only issue of Miracle Man I kept. When I moved to New Zealand, I gave away the rest of them to friends.
Hard to find.
Because I bought this off the rack in 1987.
I didn't get that for almost 6 years after it came out. It was impossible to find in New York.
Yeah, this is my all-time favorite issue of any comic ever. It's poetry, very disturbing and dark poetry, but Moore's writing in it is so poetic. If ever you want to do a stream about Miracle Man, please count me in, because Moore, I think that's Moore's real greatest work as far as superhero comics go. Is Miracle Man rather than Watchmen.
Yeah.
Hot take there.
What? I mean, I like the Watchmen. I do like Miracle Man more. Yeah, I do like Miracle Man more. It is.
Watchmen's a little overrated.
Ooh.
I like Tom Strong.
I love Tom Strong. I love Promethea. I love all those ABC comics. Those are so good.
I find them a bit esoteric, a little bit too high-minded, artistic for me. I'm such a simple human being. I mean, I barely speak English, so what do I know?
Speak a magic language. What is it? A Batman issue by Chip Zdarsky. Yeah, so it's Batman falling out of space and with the spacesuit. That was more recent. So that was after I stopped. Yeah, I don't like all powerful Batman. I like weak Batman. I like
Absolute Batman.
I'm sorry.
Absolute Batman.
Is he weak?
No, do you like him?
I don't care. I mean, it's another thing. It's another multiverse version.
I like
It's
Batman
Miles
with the
Morales.
yellow oval. I
Yeah.
like Batman with
Oh,
the yellow
definitely.
oval and the blue cape and the gray uniform, like in the 70s and 80s. If you want to make it darker so he looks more like a creature of night, that's fine. But all this short ear, super black Batman with all this armor on all the time and
No,
giant boots you couldn't run in. And I like the superhero Batman, the Neil Adams Batman.
If
Jim
Batman's
Aparo
wearing
Batman.
armor, he's not Batman.
Jim Aparo.
The Jim
You know,
Aparo
like,
Batman is my
you know, I
favorite.
say I didn't buy DC Comics, but when I was 10, 11, we bought any comics. I had Brave and Bold. I had 100-page Super Spectaculars and Superman and Batman. That Batman, and you could do anything you want with that. You don't have to make him giant. Like, I love Dark Knight when it came out, but that's supposed to be an Elseworlds. Batman's not supposed to be as big as the Hulk. That's a Frank Miller thing. That's fine for him. We didn't have to go crazy after that. I didn't even buy Chuck Dixon's Batman in the 90s. I didn't even like it. I just bought Batman Adventures from the animated show.
Batman and the
I want
Outsiders.
this nasty Batman.
Marcus,
But I didn't read it. So that's,
Lucas wants to have words with you. I mean, Logic's Finest wants to have words with you. Did you just say
boring.
it was overrated?
Boring.
Oh, that's a bit strong. Overrated, maybe, but
I
boring.
got it when I was in college. Everybody liked it. It was okay. It wasn't as big deal as it is now, as you think. The ending was terrible.
Oh, that's. I can't agree. Can't agree with you there, brother. Sorry.
I love the
Octopus.
Watchmen.
An octopus? Come on.
I love.
Yeah,
I
it
love
was ridiculous.
I
Did you
love
like
the
Electro
Watchmen.
Assassin?
I like the Electro Assassin. Yeah. I like Electro Assassin. I mean, it's not a bad comic. I thought Dark Knight was better. It came out at the same time.
Mm.
It was better told, and I love Dave Gibbons, but you know, it is what it is. I don't need to have everybody a worldly class. I don't need a tubby hero banging his girlfriend. I don't have to see that. I mean, like John said, does every sex scene even matter? No, that didn't matter either.
No.
It was really well
My
drawn.
hot
I mean,
take on the Watchmen is I like the movie ending better than the comic book ending.
I want to see
really
the
like
pirate
that they tied it all to Dr. Manhattan and gave him a reason to flee.
Yeah, it made more sense.
How you doing, Bill?
I want to see Joe Orlando's pirate comic in Watchmen. I didn't get to see that. Well, you had Joe at class.
I just read. This is Bill Williams over here, and Bill.
Hello, Bill.
Hola.
Put your. I didn't mean to do that.
Bill doesn't know what he's getting into.
The link to your Kickstarter. Let's talk about your Kickstarter.
Okay, will do. Yeah, it took me 2 new browsers to find something that's going to work. So it's been interesting to get to this point today.
So, for those of you who don't know, this is Bill Williams. He's the writer on a comic called Pantheon. He's also the letterer in my comic. And you have a Kickstarter right now. Okay, here we go.
So I'm the writer on Punchline.
Punchline. What I said, Pantheon. Yeah.
Yeah. Pantheon was a book written by Bill Willingham, pre-Fables, and we were buddies back in the day. And he wrote these stories about this character named Blackheart. It's kind of a angrier version of Batman at the time, if you can call it that kind of thing. But you know, he was fairly popular, so he wrote some solo stories about Blackheart and his sidekick, and Bobby Diaz penciled them and inked them, and they sat that way for 20 years more or less. I recently went back and colored the comics and bound them up and put them in a Kickstarter and Indiegogo, and I think a backer kit. I want to see what works best out of the 3.
Is this all new stuff?
This is all new to a lot of people's stuff. I had a guy reach out to me who I haven't seen since like 2006, and he said, "Hey, I'm a big fan. When are you going to put out a 300-page book with all the Pantheon stories in it?" I was like, "Well, we'll see how this one does." Pantheon is the story of the last great adventure of a superhero team. It was put out in black and white between like 97 and 2000. And I inked some of it. Willingham wrote all of it. Mike Leake penciled it. I inked him on most things. And we had other people come in and do covers. Matt Clark did covers for a while. Derek Donovan did some pages. Steve Lieber did some pages. So it was kind of an interesting book. And I'm doing a test run with the Blackheart stories and seeing if I can find a big enough audience with that to warrant the expense of getting the big Pantheon book out.
I love this series. I thought it was so good.
I appreciate it.
Would it be fair to say that it had like the same tone as Elementals?
A bit. When I was talking with Bill about this, I was doing a book called Heroic Tales, and I was inking stories that Rob Phipps was penciling. And
Rob Phipps.
he saw, how easy it was to put out comics at the time. And he said, that he had this big adventure that he wanted to tell, this big adventure story that he wanted to tell from his Elementals days. And he sold those characters before he got a chance to put that out. So I said, well, if you want to write something, let's do it. So we talked about it. And I believe I inherited a chunk of cash right about that time. And I said, sure. So we talked for a few minutes, got Leak on the phone. Everybody agreed to start pulling in the same direction and started making comic book pages. And at the time it was pretty popular. We got a feature about the project in Wizard magazine. And that was kind of cool. We made comics, and it was kind of hard to get books out on a regular basis. As whenever you start making comics on a regular basis, you bump up against that. Real life gets in the way a lot when you're making art. And the books came out eventually. It was eventually done, but I felt like it was good enough to get repackaged and represented to a fresh audience. So I've been on the down low, getting pages colored. The original lettering on some of these stories was not up to current modern standards, so I went through and relettered 20 pages on that. So I've been grinding on away on this kind of labor of love thing for a while.
Cool. Yeah,
I haven't heard Mike Leake's name in a while since Valiant days.
Yeah. This was the last project that he worked on before he went to go work for Valiant. And the Pantheon stories were the last thing that Willingham did, at the same time that he was finishing up writing on those things. He was pitching Fables to Vertigo because his old editor, Shelley Bond, knew him from the Kamiko days, and she reached out to him and got him interested in working on something for DC. And he said, I was kicking this story around and I want to use some public domain characters to tell this kind of story. And, he was off and winning Eisners for a while after that.
Yeah, get Bill on my channel. I'd love to have a conversation with Bill.
I don't want to say he's gone full hermit, but it is harder for me to get a hold of him than it used to be.
I've been a fan of his since this came out.
Yeah.
And even before with his D&D artwork in the comics.
Yeah, he flinches the same way most artists do. If you take him, I guess it's the comics from the late 70s where there's the D&D ads on the back. If you take those and get him to sign it, I don't know. As an artist, I tend to hate my work a lot. And the new stuff I sort of tolerate, but the old stuff I look at it and all I see are the flaws. And Bill has that kind of reaction when you take the old D&D, all those old ads to him. But
although I put up on Twitter, I was reading Warp, and I didn't realize that was some of his first full comic book. So he drew this great cover, and I took a picture of it and I put it on Twitter. It's the first time he ever responded to me. He goes, "Oh, that's my first cover that I ever did."
Yeah.
So of course I'm like, "Hey, Bill, you want to come on my channel?" Chirp, 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 chirp.
He lurks. He doesn't commit to doing a lot of stuff. I'm in that same boat, but I'll chat with just about anybody.
Yeah, you're very funny.
Yeah.
And it's funny
I
because
ramble.
when I announced that you were coming on my channel, people like Bill Willingham, no, Bill Willingham, Bill.
So the guy who owned the Thunder Agents was this guy named John Carbonaro, and he was kind of a blockhead. And Carbonaro did not believe that I existed. He reached out to Willingham. He knew him from somewhere, and he was talking to him, and he said, "Tell me the truth. Bill Williams doesn't really exist. That's just like an alias you're using." And Willingham was borderline offended. He said, "You don't think I can come up with a better name than one that sounds a whole lot like mine? No, it's dumb. What's wrong with you?" Carbonaro was like that. He
Do you have a son named Joe
like a
Carbonaro?
chisel. No,
No, okay.
I've got a kid. We just went and had we had a late dinner today. I was in her neighborhood and I was like, "Hey, I'm surprisingly in your neighborhood. You want to hang out?" She goes, "Yeah." We went by our favorite kind of mediocre Cajun food place here in Austin, and
Nice.
had some. I had some gumbo. She had some veggies. We had some Mexican martinis and some key lime pie. So it's
Good.
been a pretty good day so far.
Good.
My son lives in Austin.
Oh yeah,
He just moved. He works for Tesla.
yeah.
He's a mechanical engineer. He's a lot smarter than I am.
It is amazing how many engineers live in Austin thanks to Elon Musk.
Yeah, he got headhunted. He was in Atlanta.
Yeah.
He's been there about 6 months. He likes it. I haven't got to visit. My wife got to visit, though.
You should come down. It's interesting. It's getting towards fall, so it's not 110 in the shade anymore. But fall football weather. It's a good time here in Austin.
Yeah, I'll get there. I mean, we're going to visit him eventually.
Yeah.
He was able to rent a house for the same rent he could get an apartment in Atlanta. So
Yeah.
a lot better off.
Some of those big cities, you don't realize how expensive they are until you go somewhere else. And then the small towns, you don't realize how cheap they are until you go there for a little bit.
Right.
It's a scale thing.
Well, I used to live in New York, so I know.
There you go. Back in the day when I would fly in and chat with people in DC and try to convince them to give me work and fail, I would go up to New York for a few days. I'd go up for 3-4 days. I'm like, yeah, I could do this. Yeah, I could do this. And by day 4, I'm like, let me the F out of here.
Oh yeah, I lived in the suburbs. I went to school visual arts for 4 years.
Yeah.
So back and forth to the city. After I finished school, maybe we go for a concert once a year. I never went to the city again.
Yeah.
It's just stressful. I mean, it's not a bad place, but now
it's a good place to visit. I wouldn't want to live here, and live here.
Manhattan's a tough place to go to, man.
Yeah.
Oscar wants to know what's a Mexican martini.
Oh, it is a margarita shaken, strained, and served up like a martini. It's got olives in it. It's basically tequila, something orange, lemon, lime, salt.
That would kill me. I can't handle hard liquor.
Yeah, it's fun. The thing is, it's not what you're doing; it's how long you're doing it. And we split one, and then we moved on to something else. So that was enough.
Do you know, Bill? I want to bring up this Elementals campaign on Kickstarter. Do you know anything about this?
So when you said something, I looked.
Public Dominion.
Yeah, I don't know, but something screams shady to me, and I'll apologize if I'm wrong.
It may be shady. I talked with Bill about this stuff on several occasions, and he sold the rights to the Elementals to what's his name, that bonehead who ran Kamiko for all that time. I'll remember his name. As you get older, you have more file cabinets in your head, and it's harder to find the files.
Yeah.
Say what?
Is it Rev something?
Yeah, Andrew Rev.
It's a Rev. Andrew Rev.
So I talked with Bill about this. He and Jack Herman were working on the Elementals at the time. Well, that's a lot of Bill's work. That's a lot of.
Yeah, that's why
I can't tell what that is.
I
But
didn't want to give it the time of day, but maybe it was legit. I don't know, but
yeah,
my
I
instinct
think
tells me something shady's about that.
there might be. The thing is, laws only work when people are around to enforce them.
Right.
And Andrew Rev apparently disappeared years ago. And the argument I made to Willingham, if he wanted the elementals back, I said, look, you sold that property to Rev, and Rev has not given you the time of day since then. If there are any royalties due or reporting that he needs to make or permissions that he needs to get from you for anything, he's in breach of that contract. And if you want to go fight with him, go fight with him. You know, if you want to get your characters back, that's cool. If you don't, that's cool. It's your call. And at the time, I don't think he was really interested, and it didn't seem to be in his heart to go fight with people. Me, I sort of like a good fight, but I think that your first hurdle there you would have to find Rev to be able to serve him with papers. Now, if Rev has sold that to somebody else, who knows? That's the kind of thing that lawyers would need to untangle.
Jim O'Reilly was just telling me that he was going to work with Rev, and Rev pulled a fast one on a bunch of people and caused another company to go down or something like that.
Rev's like that. He's a slime ball, and I like Jim O'Reilly. I inked him on a very short story.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Jim's
nice
a good
guy. Yeah, that's what's up with me. What's up with you guys?
Yeah, I know whenever I drive out of state and then I come back into New York, and you get off the why can't I think of the name? But there's that section of the Brooklyn Queens, and then all of a sudden you just it's trapped like this, and there's buildings on both sides, and I'm like, human beings shouldn't live here. This is not a conductive environment for human beings to be healthy. Like, you're in an apartment building, and you can't, but you would think that you could pull over to the side and like knock your hands into the bricks. That's how close these are. Can you imagine living in those buildings like by Left Rock City and stuff?
It's kind of the opposite of a wide open space.
Yeah. It's a short, crowded, cramped place. I don't know. I mean, if you're super wealthy and you live by Central Park East, that's a different.
You got web shooters, maybe?
I'm sorry. Who just talked? I thought I heard a voice. I guess I'm crazy. I was doing electrical work at some guy's apartment. The guy owned what's that? I'm trying to remember his name, but he owns one of those firms where, like, Lloyd's of London, literally Lloyd's of London. So it was one of the owners of Lloyd's of London. And I was
he's an insurance underwriter.
Yeah, like Anne Margaret had her legs insured by Lloyd's of London.
Yeah,
so this guy had an apartment in Manhattan, and he also in London, and when he was in New York. So we were doing the electrical work. This apartment was $25 million. Madonna lived in the same building, and A-Rod lived in the same building. And I'm telling you, man, I could start to run and hit the wall before I got a good. It was tiny and cramped, and he was showing us for $25 million his land in California, and it sprawled, and it had a helicopter pad and 2 pools. I'm like, $25 million in California gets you this. $25 million in New York gets you a 1-bathroom, like, nice apartment. Yeah, but geez, $25 million.
Well, you're paying for bragging rights and proximity.
Right. That's exactly what you're doing. Yeah, I mean, it was right on Central Park. Like, we would be working there, and we would be having lunch. Just sitting overlooking Central Park. It was gorgeous. It was a view I'd never get to see if I wasn't working there. But if I had $25 million and I could pick a place to live, it would not be New York. It would not be Manhattan.
Not hanging out with 8 million of your closest friends.
Yeah. Especially not now when you can get thrown off the subway.
Yeah, true. So, John, I'm showing up late. How's your neck? You good?
I went to the specialist on Friday, and the specialist terrified me. She you ever meet a doctor that just seems so confident and so? She just walks in and she just gave me a look and she goes, "You have no idea how lucky you are." And I just went, and I looked at my wife like I felt like I was a little kid, and my dad was yelling at me.
Yeah.
He goes, "Because I was told I have a hairline fracture in my vertebrae." So she went, got on the computer, and summoned up all the imaging and was showing me the fractures, and we were following it. She goes, "It's over here. It's shattered." She goes, she called it a hangman's fracture. She goes, "It's in the same spot when the rope snaps your neck."
Yeah.
She goes, "At any point, pieces could have broken off." And she was showing me the arteries. She goes, you would have been dead before the ambulance got. You would have bled out. You would have had a stroke. She goes, "At very least, you would have been paralyzed." So I'm thinking, because the airbag deployed, I hit my face against the airbag, my car hit the tree. I was stunned and not making too much sense. The police came and they told me not to move, and they reached in and they put this Frankenstein Victorian corset around my neck that dug in. Oh my God, I just wanted to take it off. It hurt, but I wasn't making sense. I was still in shock. Those guys probably saved my life, if not my mobility, because
I was about to say, it sounds like they saved your legs, because
Right.
usually when you get that kind of fracture, you've got your two columns, and as long as they stick together, you're fine. But if they
Right.
come apart and clip that nerve,
so
nerves don't grow back.
I was immobile because I had to wear that. And then the ambulance guy took off and put on this plastic one that it didn't hurt, but it was so uncomfortable, but it kept my neck. I could not move. And then when I got to the emergency room, they put this one on, which is comfortable, but but everybody was like, "Oh yeah, you broke your neck, you broke your neck." But the way they were talking about it, I didn't think it was a big deal.
Yeah.
So I'm coming home and I'm telling my wife, I just want to go out and do something. I was chopping wood. I took the chainsaw out and was cut, my wife, and now I'm like, what am I, a moron? Like I didn't until that doctor said, "You have no idea." So she told me I got to wear this for another month. I'm 1 week away from taking it off, according to the old doctors, but the specialist gave me a whole nother month.
So are you in extra innings because you're letting the bones knit back together?
Yes, because she said she does not want to do surgery. She goes, "It's too risky." She goes, "I don't want to do the surgery. I don't want to do." And she goes, "We're gonna have." She was telling me they have to pin the vertebrae, but everything could crumble and fall apart. So she goes, "Let it heal." So I got to go get another CAT scan in a month, and who knows? Maybe in a month they'll still want to do surgery. Maybe in another month they're going to tell me wear it for another month. Who knows? But I thought it was another week and I could take this off. Yeah. And I tell you, when I take it off to shave, because I got to take it off to shave. Yeah, I'm a bobblehead. My neck muscles atrophy.
Yeah.
I got to. All of a sudden, I need a haircut. The way my hair grows, it's like fine, boof, fine, boof. So I got to go get a haircut. I'm going to be bobbing in the barber's chair.
Yeah, my dad was in an auto accident when he was younger, and his car was rear-ended, and he's old because I'm old, so he was even older. And his head snapped back far enough that it tore loose a bunch of muscles.
Oh,
so he said that, for the first couple of weeks after the accident, he had to grab his head and help pick it up to carry himself around to go to the bathroom or, putter around his house until that muscle grew back in,
The airbag saved my life 100%. Yeah. Because when for those of you who don't know, we got a bunch of people watching. I was coming home early that day. So I was like, I'm going to have lunch when I go home with my wife because she works home. So I didn't eat lunch, and it was so hot, I didn't want to eat anything for breakfast. I'm a construction worker. So I drank like 3 cups of coffee, and now I'm driving home, and all of a sudden it was 106 degrees with the heat index and the humidity. I started seeing this, So I got off the highway, and then I went like I just literally fainted. So thank God my car tilted to the left because there was cars in front of me. And as I passed out, I must have leaned forward and I must have accelerated. So thank God I hit a tree instead of the people in front of me. You know what I mean? Like I'd still be hurt, but I would have hurt somebody else. They would have been, and also hit from us. So thank God I hit a tree.
Sometimes it's more important to be lucky than good, right?
Yeah. I was absolutely lucky. And then I'll never forget. There's a couple of things in my life that you never forget. That doctor coming in. I'll never forget when My mother had open heart surgery, and the surgeon came out from operating on my mother, covered in my mother's blood, and he just goes, "Anybody got a cigarette?" And my sister had just reach out and give him a cigarette, and he goes, "That's why I just operated on your mother," you know. And
Yeah.
everybody was like, it was just very powerful because I'm an anti-smoking guy, you know. But
Yeah.
that was very powerful to me. That surgeon did the right thing. He's like scared us straight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was one of those moments. The other moment is when that doctor says to me, "You have no idea how lucky you are." I was like, you know, that, you know,
My surgeon was sort of taking bragging rights. You know, I went in, they found some cancer. It was stage 1, and they cut it out and made a full recovery. I'm back to being able to bench
yeah,
my
good-
body weight and go to
yeah,
the
they
gym
went-
3 days a week. But I went in and saw Dr. Megan, and she said, "Yeah, you're surgically cured." Well, you know, the bits that I pulled out when we checked, it was only stage 1, so it didn't travel. You don't need any chemo. You're good to go. I'll see you in a year, and then after that in 3 years, and after that 5 years, and that's it. Because once you start getting into your 70s, they don't really worry about cancer anymore.
yeah.
It's more like, "Oh, if we try to fix you, it's just going to create more problems." So, you know, they make you comfortable after that point.
So me and my friends, we play villains vigilantes. So
Yeah.
I'm the DM with the broken neck. My buddy Jimmy just had a triple bypass.
Oof.
You know, he's the super strong tank character. My
Yeah.
friend Ray, he also just had a bypass and a knee replacement and a hip replacement. And then and Scott over here, the engineer, he had pieces of his spine removed, and he has like this bionic
Oh.
belt in the middle of the game. He's like turning knobs because it's supposed to induce. I'm just like, look at us. And then Dave, the youngest one, the carpenter, he's sitting there smoking a cigarette, you know, drinking coffee. I'm like, you're next, Dave. You're next. So like,
You know, when we were kids, guys lived hard and died fast. You know, there's a little bit of that left still.
So Marcus, what surgeries have you had?
Oh, let's see. I shattered
fell on your head.
I shattered my elbow on slipping off a house working. We used to install fiber for Verizon 18
Oh,
9X
so that was a
Verizon.
work-related incident.
And then that also hurt my hamate bone. That was the first injury. And then somebody pulled me off a telephone pole 10 feet right before the wire got hooked on the bush. So instead of being flat on the ground, but she's backing in to this small street and didn't see it.
Oh,
Don't fall 10 feet on asphalt. It is not any fun.
Ooh.
I shattered this wrist. You can see the scars. I draw with this wrist.
Yeah.
It does not feel good. You know, I feel it. I mean, no matter what, still tight. No matter what, I have all the movement, but it's just feel it. And then I broke my leg at the same fall. So never, this is another thing, never break something on your right side and your left side. It makes rehab very difficult. And I thought
Yeah.
I shattered my hips,
they told me I don't have to go to
pelvic
rehab.
bone, which I did not. But that was so painful. I literally could not move for like a couple of months.
Yeah.
Justin,
I was
you're
in
the
rehab
youngest.
for 7 months.
Yeah, I still have all my
You-
original parts.
I went
With
to
that-
the old age home.
I'm
Justin,
46.
did you break anything? Did you get hurt?
No, the worst thing that's happened to me lately is when I stained my deck. I was admiring how the stain was allowing the water to stay on top, and it wasn't absorbing it. It was like pooling up. So I just kicked the water with my foot, and I got like a 2-inch sliver in my toe.
Oh my God! I
That was
thought you were going to say you
painful,
slipped. I was not prepared for that. Oh my God!
No,
Oh my
And-
God! That's the worst. Oh my
That's
God!
rough.
it
Good
was
night,
a
everybody.
bastard, man. I mean, I was limping for like 3 days, and
Oh.
I pulled some of it out, and then I had my wife pull the rest of it out, and then I think
Ouch.
there was a little piece that was still in there, and then it started a blister. I don't know. It was just a whole ordeal.
Oh
I
my
mean, that was,
God! I did not
Yeah,
expect
that's
you to
bad.
say that. I thought you were going to say you slipped and fell.
no.
I've been pretty good.
That's terrible.
I've been pretty good this year. I was in the hospital for hernia surgery. I had 6 hernias all at once.
Well, I did have a hernia surgery. I did a hernia
then-
too.
and
but
then,
years ago.
Then I broke my neck. I never broke a bone before. So my first broken bone is in the neck. If go big or go home, right?
That's a big one. Yeah.
I have to say, I have aches and pains. I don't know if it's from these falls or it's, or arthritis from these falls. I have no idea, but it's not the same as it was.
I don't know.
Hey, you get over these things.
And I
Well,
tell you, I
everybody
lost muscle mass.
adapts.
I lost 20 pounds since I've been home, and I'm not exercising, but I feel weak. Like I'll pick up the garbage cans, and I'm like, oh man. So
There are
like
things.
dehydrated when it happened. You just
No,
what
he
happened?
wasn't hydrated. You weren't hydrated.
I got to go back to work, and I'm gonna have a rough time. There is no light duty in construction,
Yeah, there are things that happens when you get injured, and your body kind of puts all of its resources into fixing what's wrong. So after an injury, you can have a hell of a calorie burn going there for a while.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I was in a coma from COVID.
Ooh,
You're still in the coma. This is all a dream, Marcus.
That's a couple of years. That was coma. Yeah.
you should hope for a weirder dream.
20. Oh my God, the dreams I had. I
So
should
think-
make comics out of them, but I'm so scared.
Just think
of them.
about
I'm gonna
bikini
put them on
season,
paper.
John.
Oof.
That's rough. Write them down before you forget them. You can always strip mine them later.
They said, I remember them. My wife asked me, did you know you were in a coma? I'm like, no, I was in a coma. I had no idea.
Really?
I
Time
don't
just
know
went
when.
by, or you're living another life, playing the flute,
Living
on
another life. It was like living. There was like 7 or different lives I was living. A lot of I ended up being stuck and not be able to move in like every single one of them.
Oh.
They involved murders and kids getting killed and nuclear bombs and
Were you solving
it was
crimes with
pretty
people?
freaky. Excuse me?
Did Christopher Nolan come and write your ideas down?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was pretty freaky. They said, my wife said it's because they give you all sorts of drugs to keep you under. You everything that's a coma, you don't like lapse into a coma. Most of them are medically induced.
Right.
Because they have to be. To have the respirator in for COVID, you have to be in a coma. And one of the problems is are they pulling it out too late or too early? This is the big problem. People really don't know how people passed away. And part of it is the respirator part. Like when they pulled it out when they were supposed to. And, I got every medicine I could possibly get. I'm fine. I have asthma and overweight, and I'm like, will be 59. At that time, I was like 56. Probably should have just stayed in one room the whole time. But, what can I do? But I'm fine.
I went from like laughing at my friends, you guys getting surgery stuff, to now joining the club,
Yeah. It's less funny when you're in the club.
Yeah.
My wife says I have 9 lives.
Yeah. My friend Jimmy last year, I went to visit him in the hospital after his surgery, and he was whispering because he didn't know, because they cut him open, so he felt like he was making an effort. He said he thought he was shouting. I just sat there and nodded my head, like pretended I was listening to him. Yeah.
Depending on the procedures you get a lot of tubes down your neck, and it's not the most pleasant experience ever. And sometimes it takes a while to recover. My voice isn't still back to where it was from my surgery in May.
So, what about you down there in New Zealand? What bed?
Oh,
you might as well tell us your tales of woe.
Oh well, I'm just listening to all your stories and thinking, goodness gracious. I mean, last injury I had that was at all significant was I popped a couple of ribs in 2022, but don't think I've had I got aches and pains too. I mean, I think I'm about 2 years younger than you, John, but
well, good for you.
I got a few aches and pains, but nothing serious. I have no complaints.
That's good. I held up pretty well for 59 years. It was year 60 that was the problem.
Oh, you're 60?
Holy moly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did pretty good.
Well, I'm going to run away now before I got to run away now before we get to the magic number and I get an injury. But it's been lovely to meet you. All the best with your Kickstarter, John and Bill, and lovely to talk to you, Marcus and Jeremy. Have a great. This is tomorrow here, so I can tell you now tomorrow is a really good day. So God bless.
Thank you.
Hoil Vauer. Take care.
Kiwis. Apparently, they're dangerous opponents to fight, right? Right? Isn't that New Zealand had the Kiwi War and lost?
Yeah.
Maybe. That's not the kind of thing I can keep up with.
Yeah. So I might as well bring this back up since he brought it up.
Are we going
This
to talk more about kiwis?
This is Heroic Tales, a title I stole from Bill.
Yeah, you're gonna have to give Bill some money if he makes some.
I wasn't using it, so you know, maybe it'll be better luck for you than it was for me.
I tell you, I think I'm up to 7. I got to get issue 8. I think of Heroic Tales. Yeah, I think I got the first 7. This is the thing that I'm pushing here. This is the Mike Gustovich cover. You know,
Nice.
I'm just so I can't believe I got a cover by Mike Gustovich. You know, I just love the colors. You know, he wanted to draw the bad guy. I was keeping the bad guy as a secret until Mike Gustovich wanted to draw him. So there you go. This is the
He's an interesting looking bad guy. That's the little spidery looking guy, right?
yeah. Well, he's like a Dr. Octopus. He's Dr. Robug, and he creates robotic insects to do his nefarious deeds. You know, that
explains a lot.
Yeah, he's you know, the patriarch is like the Chad, and he's the nerdy incel. You know,
as if you haven't guessed, I've not read your script yet, but I will.
Yeah, I just sent it to you while you'll go out to dinner. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to read it. You just have to letter it, one letter at a time.
It's essentially copying and pasting. You know, there are some things about making comics that are very hard. I don't think lettering's that hard.
I tell you,
it's a design job.
I'm at the well, there's a couple.
I'm not good at it.
Yeah,
I think
practice.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but there's a few things like interrupting, like, you know, you put the word balloon on top of the other guy's word balloon.
Yeah.
And I brought back thought balloons, guys. I think I like thought balloons instead of captions and stuff.
They serve a little bit different purpose. In the Tomorrow Girl Punchline book that I wrote, there's a couple of pages. I think there's maybe one page with a half dozen panels with thought balloons in it as Jessie is walking around New York, amazed at the stench, you know, amazed at, you know, different stuff she's seeing. And that's fun. That was as close as I got to drawing something in that book. Yeah, arranging all the little balloons so that they make sense.
I tell you, everything has been fun up until this point. You know, even, you know, I redid the dialogue to send to you because you're an intimidating guy. I didn't want to send you bad dialogue, and then you're like, John, this doesn't make sense. So
I'm intimidated.
You're helping me. Is what I'm saying.
I tend not to judge.
So I was like, okay. So I redid some of the stuff that didn't sound right, but now, like, pre-press and talking to the printer, I don't know why I find this to be just a chore. Everything else was creative and fun. Now it's like, okay, what if this page doesn't look right? This page is upside. Like, this is the stuff that's really making me nervous.
The printers have a vested interest in getting it right one time, so they tend to be very careful and cautious.
That's good to know.
Getting your pre-press done helps. You know, make sure all the pages are in order. I've worked with Tom Zoller for years. He does the Love and Capes book, and he's a wizard about that. But I believe that there's a platform that you can use, one of the Adobe packages. I think it's InDesign, where you can import a document into it, and it will do a bunch of that. But like any piece of software, there's, you know, getting the kind of like the meatball bits of it down, and then there's the years of mastery that it takes to be great at it. And Tom has put in the years, and he's great at that stuff. So I think I've recommended him to you.
Yes, you gave me his contact information. He told me to reach out after the lettering is done.
If we can get it done and get approvals done on all of the pages, he's a big Baltimore Con guy. So that show's in 2 weeks. So maybe you can get that book in and out of his hands after the show, probably. Usually in the run up to shows, it's hard to get anything done with freelancers.
Yeah.
Because they're getting all their shit together to go get paid.
Yeah.
You know, saying, oh, you got a freelance job? Yeah, it's going to come later. Yeah.
Hey, Don here. How you doing,
Human
Don?
nature.
Hey, Don.
How's it going, Don?
Hey, Don.
Hola.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I can't keep my eyes open any longer. So I gotta go to sleep.
Yeah, I've been dozing off myself.
It's a little awkward to sleep on
exciting.
camera. Yeah.
What's that?
I sleep when I'm driving.
So
you
does
can end
John.
up like me.
Yeah. It's a little awkward to sleep on camera.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
So
Thanks for inviting me on, John. And
I backed your book while we were talking. Check on.
I'll see you in a couple of days. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
do this again. And
yeah,
hopefully I'll have time to get some pages later for you tomorrow so you can see it. You know, when you're making comics, the writing and the penciling and the ink and the coloring, they're all kind of the theoretical steps. But then when you actually get words on the page, it changes into something else.
I tell you, because for those of you who don't know, Bill already did the unheroic tales, the 8-page backup. So that's all complete. That's all done. I must have read it and reread it and looked at it a million times because it's just wow, it's a comic book now. You know,
and it wasn't in the world before you decided to make it happen. So those are things to keep track of.
It's real fun to read it. You know, it's a comic book. I had my wife read it, make sure she could get it. You know, make sure it makes sense. Yeah, and if you see misspelled words or things that don't make sense.
Yeah, that story takes a pretty dark turn somewhere along the way. I was like, oh, that's creepy. All right.
Yeah, I actually debated like writing it, telling people about it, and then when Ron sent me the artwork, I'm like, oh, I might have went too far.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a line in the Blackheart and Valentine book that is hilariously sexist, and it was offensive back in 1999. And I'm sort of wondering how it's going to land now.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm wondering people like, oh, John's so wholesome, it's all ages stuff, and then they're gonna read that backup story, and they're gonna be like, I read this to my kids, and so I still wondering if I'm gonna change it before at the last minute. So
sometimes you just got to get things out of your head.
But bad guys are bad guys. You don't endorse I don't endorse Dr. Doom taking over Latvia. That's what Dr. Doom does, you know. And let's just say I hate politicians, and they're all horrible, evil people. So we'll leave it at that.
They are self-serving, that's for sure.
Yeah, but thanks a lot, guys.
Good to see you guys.
Nice meeting you, Bill.
Thanks for everything. Nice to meet you too.
Thanks for inviting me.
I'm pushing that Gustovich cover.
Nice seeing you, Justin.
Adios, guys.
And don't forget, we got Blackheart and Valentine. I backed that while we were talking. I'm a big fan of that comic. I resume the thoughts, action, words, and size. Yeah,
I'm gonna put it on my list.
Exactly. Yeah. So be warned, people. All right. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. I hope you consider checking out Heroic Tales and back in the Mike Gustovich cover. You know, that's what I'm pushing. I got to pay for it somehow.